Bandwidth for First Updates Now is supported by YouthRobotics.tv. Catch the latest robotics events and shows on their Roku app or by going to their website at YouthRobotics.tv. This is First Updates Now Recap, episode 1609, recorded on April 12th, 2016. Recap is brought to you by AndyMark. Are you competition ready? Count on AndyMark to be your source to stock up on batteries, boulders, components, and more at AndyMark.com. And by Gamefly. Support fun and get a free 30-day trial and 1 month free of Hulu by going to firstupdatesnow.com/Gamefly. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for Recap. We're here to discuss the latest on what's going on in FIRST Robotics. I'm Tyler Olds.
I'm Mike Stark.
I'm Justin Montoys.
And Stronghold is gearing up for championships. And we're getting down to our last few teams to get their chance to St. Louis. We'll recap Week 6, talk about a mysterious flyer about districts in Minnesota, preview Week 7 district champs, and of course, run down the FRC top 25 for Week 6. Before we get going, let's introduce our guest for this evening. We're honored to have Justin Ridley, the lead mentor, or one of the lead mentors for last year's world champion 118, the Robonauts. He's an engineer at the NASA Johnson Space Center and has been participating in FIRST since 1998. You guys might know him from being one of the key people in producing the amazing videos that the Robonauts produce year after year. Welcome to the show, Justin.
Hey, thanks very much. Excited to be here.
Justin, it's really an honor having you on the show, and hopefully it doesn't get too confusing having two Justins here because it's already confusing.
We'll just call him Ridley.
Ridley. All right.
Ridley.
That works.
There you go. So Justin, would you be able to maybe elaborate a little bit more on the amazing videos that you guys produce? For some of the best and most watched reveal videos in FIRST. So maybe what are like some of the thought process behind just the innovative and engaging videos that you guys put out?
Yeah, the videos is just something that the team really is proud of and like to do. Started a long time ago. We used to build these dumb things called 3-week robots. And so I started making videos just to kind of pump the team up, so show our progress. That kind of evolved into reveal videos, and we continue to do them, try to keep it, robot centric. And for us, it's just about, showing off what we've done those previous 6 weeks and then things that we're proud of. So we try to keep it fun and engaging, and it's definitely a priority in our team. So we definitely, we're planning our days out. There's film days are almost more important than finish the robot and make the robot work days. So yeah.
How many weeks do you take to actually make that? Like, I mean, when do you start filming and when are you? I mean, we know when you're done. I would say,
yeah, usually like pretty much every FIRST team, we're putting the robot together right up to the wire. So we're filming Monday and Tuesday right before ship, and then try to edit, Wednesday, get it out Thursday. So it's a really quick process.
How many hours of editing would you say you put into that, or how many man hours of editing go into that?
There's a lot of editing. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not very fast at it. I mean, I'm a very amateur movie maker. So there's a lot of teams out there that got production quality way above us. There's videos that are really topping us these days, but we do what we can, and I very slowly put the thing together, and hopefully it turns out okay.
It does.
It helps the robot that can really stand on its own too a little bit.
Right.
It's fantastic. So 118 continues to roll this year, 3 regional victories. I think you guys have the current streak for the most regional victories in a row. So what do you think was kind of the formula, or is the formula for 118's continued success, or not only this year, but in years past?
Yeah, I wish there was a formula I could tell you. I think
I wish too.
I think that there's just a lot of prototyping, and we prototype like crazy at the beginning of the season. I mean, we had probably 10 different ways of shooting the ball that we were working on at the beginning of the season, and then after that, it's just a lot of hard work. I mean, we work like crazy, and then we usually are never happy with our results, so we're iterating throughout the 6 weeks and then throughout the season. I mean, the robot that we won Toronto with looks very similar, but it's kind of a ways off with where we're at now, because we've continued to try to iterate and get better and better.
That's awesome. So have an opportunity to talk to an engineer at NASA. So as a space geek myself, can you talk a little bit about what your day's like at NASA and what you do when you're not building robots?
Yeah, I'm incredibly lucky that I have a job that is basically, it's like FIRST in the real world. We get to build, we're kind of an R&D type robotics group at the Johnson Space Center. So we get to build rovers and vehicles, and part of the group works on humanoids, so Robonaut and things like that. So A lot of the stuff that we're working on are real forward thinking, maybe not necessarily going to fly in space in the next couple of years, but we're looking, 5-10 years down the road. So we can make mistakes, and we also get to kind of work the entire process. So from concept to completion, we get to design the stuff, build the stuff, assemble it, test it, break it. It's an awesome job. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yes, you have the best job in the world.
As Will.i.am would say,
Fantastic.
it's dope.
It is dope.
Well, we'll be checking in a bit more with Justin, or Ridley, I should say, right? But let's start out with the recap from week 6. Only 16 events to cover, which, a couple of years ago, that would have been a ton. But this week, that's not much compared to other weeks. Justin, which event are you starting out with for week 6?
So we're going to start right in New England at the Pine Tree event. So District Play in New England wrapped up this past weekend at Pine Tree with several teams waiting to see if they'll be playing next weekend at the New England District Championship. Going to perfect 12-0 was 15-19 Mechanical Mayhem, and they selected 133 Burt and 56-33 Hyde Phoenix to join their alliance. To continue so far, for my events at least, oops, out of order. The number 1 alliance was again able to advance to the finals, where they would again play the number 2 alliance, this time composed of 125 The Neutrons, 166 Chop Shop, and 4555 Sprocketology. Defense was played heavily in the elimination rounds, where there were block shots for both sides. However, the result was the same for both finals matches in favor of the number 1 alliance, as they were able to take the win. It also marked the 4th medal of the season for 15-19, when they were awarded the District Chairman's Award to go with their 2 district wins and an Engineering Inspiration win from prior events. So definitely congrats to them, and a great effort from all teams.
Cool. Move over to another district. We're going to go to Mar. So Skillman, New Jersey hosted the last and final Mar District event of the year, being the Montgomery event, where 38 teams played 12 matches. When the dust settled, it was 303, the test team, who took number 1 seed. Selecting 33-14 and 56-66, they would lose to the 5 seed in the semifinals, consisting of teams 56, Robe, 58-95, Petty School Robotics, and 41, Robo Warriors. They would face the number 3 alliance in the finals of team 190, 222, and 6203. 2 matches with scores of 155 and 147 would determine the winner, and it was the number 5 seed at 56, 58-95, and 41 who would take the win. Congrats to them and 1403 Cougar Robotics on their District Chairman's Award.
Could be Robbie.
Maybe. I think I had to say that team once before,
Roby?
and I just totally botched it. Oh, there. Thanks, Ryan. Roby,
there you go. Nice.
We need like a proofer. I don't know. We say that.
We got one. He's in chat.
We get blasted. I mean, like prior, because we get blasted
Right.
every chat every week for years. This is
For
nothing new.
years.
Anyways, so moving on to the Western Canadian Regional. So in the shadows of the monstrosity of the water of the regional, literally it was a Sunday through Wednesday regional, which is pretty cool.
Unique.
So between that means between those two and the Windsor Essex Great Lakes Regional, who took place this past weekend, there was a solid 11 days of Canadian robotics in a row. Pretty awesome. So the pioneer of modern day reveal videos, 43-34, the Alberta Tech Alliance took the number 1 seed. And after the win back at the Utah Regional back in mid-March, they went a perfect 11-0 with 38 ranking points, which is almost 3.5 per match. They selected the number 2 alliance, 2013, the Cybergnomes, and 46-25, the Trappers. 6 matches was all it took for this alliance to take the win, scoring as high as 195 in semifinal match number 1. Congrats to them, as well as 32-11, the Y team, all the way from Israel, on their Chairman's Award.
Awesome.
Is there a blue filter on that video, or is it just shot in the dark?
Which one?
The one Nick was just showing on screen. It was like...
Oh, is it
slowly
from back in the day?
No, it was the finals for this week.
Blue filter.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't watching.
Like somebody's put a blue filter on it or something. So
Oh, I see it.
yeah, never mind. I actually watched this. Robot totally shoots the ball way out. That's all right. Totally shot a ball, and the audience looked like they were playing catch. So let's move on to the last Peachtree District. That is Kennesaw, I believe it's pronounced. The Kennesaw State University with 35 teams. Taking the number 1 seed at the event was previous district winner, 44-68 Fernbank Lynx with 36 ranking points and a 4-point rank margin over the number 2 seed. They'd go on to take the team that would beat them, that they beat last month in 24-15 Wired Cats and 41-12 Eagle Bots. Number 1 Alliance faced difficulty in the semifinals, losing their second and third matches to number 4 Blue Alliance of 51-32, 3600, and 40-80. Moving on to the finals, they'd face the number 2 Alliance with 1746 Otto, 1261 Robolions, and 5812 Drew Robotics. The number 2 Alliance took the first match, 147 to 103, and the number 4 Alliance hoped to make an improvement by calling him back up 5109. Unfortunately for the number 4 Red Alliance, the end result was similar, and the number 2 Blue Alliance won by a comfortable margin of 154 to 108. Congratulations to the number 2 Alliance for taking the district event, and to 1311 Kel Robotics for the District Chairman's Award.
It's so funny. The district events you guys have covered so far, like they've all been different than mine. Like we haven't had, like as far as alliances and who's been winning, all mine are the same. They're all different from yours. There's going to be a theme here. So we'll notice that theme as we talk more about Arizona West. Several of the high caliber teams from around the Southwest made up the 43-team field at the Arizona West Regional. One of those teams, 97, the High Rollers, went 11-1 through 12 qualification matches and earned the right to pick first during alliance selections. They selected 2468 Team Appreciate and later would add 3853 and headed into the playoffs. On the other side of the Arizona West playoff bracket, the number 2 Alliance of 1538, 4146, and 4183 would reach the final to play the tough number 1 Alliance. Similar to Windsor, the number 2 Alliance was able to take the win in match 1, but with their backs against the wall, the number 1 Alliance was able to battle back with 2 convincing victories to take the regional. Congrats to them, as well as 2403 Plasma Robotics on the Regional Chairman's Award.
All right, moving over to the Chesapeake District Championship. So it was 7 district events that took place leading up to the Chesapeake District Championship this past weekend at the Xfinity Center at the University of Maryland in College Park. I think that's really amazing for a new district having 7 events already. It's over double the events that took place in the Indiana district this year, just as a side note. Anyways, 58 teams would play 12 matches to sort out the best of the best in this district. It would be 14-18 Ve Victus, who took the number 1 seed, going 2 for 2 this season for district wins, winning at Northern Virginia and Greater DC. Going down to the 8th ranked Alliance, 14-18 selected 836 the Robo Bees, who they won the Greater DC event with. As well as rookie team 5804 Torch, who won the Hampton Roads event back in March. With only 1 hiccup in the semifinals, taking it to a 3rd match, this alliance would go on to win the Chesapeake District with scores of 106 to 149. Congrats to 384 Sparky, 1885 iLight Robotics, and 1086 Blue Cheese on their 3 regional chairman's awards.
Excellent. Moving on to the 2 regionals across the street from each other. 123 teams would play this weekend in Minneapolis. Starting with 10,000 Lakes Regional, it seemed at least 2 of the Palindrome teams. So we got 525, 2052, and 2502. So yeah, right. So 2 of these teams, it seemed inevitable. At least a couple of these would pair with each other. I know somebody said, "What if all 3 got together?" And yeah, I think you're discounting those teams just a little bit. But 2052 Nightcrawler secured the number 1 seed and would end up taking veterans 525 Swart Dogs and scoop up 3018 Nordic Storm. Once again, we'd see another number 3 Alliance make it to the finals of 2846, 4536, and 5996 to face the number 1 Alliance. These finals were no contest, though, as the number 1 Alliance swept through both matches with scores of 185 to 113 and 160 to 115. Kling Bling would be had as the double gold went to 2052 for the Regional Chairman's Award and for their championship. One thing I have to point out just about this regional that I heard, Talon Robotics 2502, I heard they end up shearing off a gear that nobody else had. And I was told on Friday midday that they were down and out for the regional. So kudos to them for making a comeback and getting to the elimination rounds. Yeah, I don't know how they did it, but I thought I was told they're going to be down and out and not even play anymore. So apparently that wasn't true. So going on across the street over at North Star, 60 teams. Many notables here: 967, 2169, 2175, 2194, 2826, 3130, and 3928. 2175 Fighting Calculators was secured the number 1 seed and select the number 2 rank of 3130 The Heirs and 3042 Cobalt Catalysts. Get this, 5 out of the 7 sets of elimination rounds would go to 3 matches.
Wow,
literally, the other side of the regional was done by the time semifinals started because it was so long. But including the finals where the number 1 Alliance would meet the number 3 Alliance again of 2826, 2194, and 2574. Number 3 Blue Alliance would secure the first win when 3130's intake faced issues and took the victory of 141 to 117. But the number 1 Alliance would come back and win the second match with 158 to 141. Third match saw the Red Alliance come through, and with 2026's drive failing in the finals, the number 1 Alliance would take the regional win with a 155 to 110 victory. Congratulations to the number 1 seed, along with 4607 CIS on their Chairman's Award win. And the only thing I'll say is, man, it sucks not to be back at champs after being world finalists last year.
Dude,
Well.
We're talking about you a little bit later, I think. But
is there a chance at a wait list or no?
Probably not, I'm guessing. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if other teams that were at champs last year are going to get on the wait list or not. I know we're on it, but at what point you also have to make that decision of, can you get the logistics done in time
it's
as well?
way too late. Yeah. All right, moving over to the Pacific Northwest.
Thanks for taking a moment there.
Yeah.
We got another moment for you later.
So there are some milestones every season that bring a little extra excitement to the FRC calendar. Kickoff, of course, events where high-level teams make their debut, and the start of district championships as we build toward the FRC main event in St. Louis. The Pacific Northwest District Championship featured 64 of the best FRC teams in the Pacific Northwest, and after 12 grueling matches after an already long season, rookie team 5803 Apex Robotics seeded first. They selected 13-18 and 36-63, hoping the week-long trend of 1 versus 2 finals would hold. Again, at least for my events, 1 versus 2 finals. However, for them, that goal was gone in the quarterfinals. They were upset by the number 8 alliance of 35-74, 2900, and 4911 in the first round. However, the joy of the upset was short-lived for that alliance as they were in turn defeated by the number 5 alliance of 360, the Revolution, 4469 Raid, and 3238, the Cyborg Ferrets. We've talked about the Cyborg Ferrets a lot this year.
Yeah.
They would face the number 2 alliance in the finals of 1983, Skunkworks Robotics, 1425, Erico 0, and 2907, Lion Robotics. The alliances appeared even on paper, but when the scores were revealed, the number 5 alliance was able to score 2 impressive wins and take the district championship. Congrats again to 360, 4469, and 3238, as well as 2980, 1540, and 4911, who were able to pick up the district championship chairman's awards. Congrats to all teams, and good luck in St. Louis.
All right, so moving over to the North Carolina District Championship. So what an exciting event this was. Taking the number 1 seed was 3506 Yeti Robotics, who won the season, were winners at Guilford, semifinals at UNC Asheville, and finals last weekend at Campbell University Johnston Community College event. Going into the district championship, they finished first overall, going 9-3 with a 35 ranking score, tying the number 2 team, but edging them out in auto points. They would select teams 1533 Triple Strange, who had beaten Yeti Robotics last weekend, and 5679 Girls on Fire, who were finalists at the UNC Asheville event, where they lost to Yeti Robotics. Wavering a bit in quarterfinal match 1 by losing the first match, the number 1 seed battled back to take the quarters, facing the number 5 seed, and would end up facing the number 6 seed in the finals of 55-18, 435, and 55-44. Winning in 2 matches with scores of 159 and 117, the number 1 alliance would take the victory. Congrats to 48-28 Robo Eagles and 45-34 on their chairman's award. And let's talk about this for a second. In the truest of blues of fashion, 3506 Yeti Robotics would take the gold, winning the district championship, gold for winning district chairman's award or regional chairman's award, and they took home the district Woody Flowers finalist award, which is absolutely unbelievable.
True blue at a district championship.
Truest of blues.
True blue.
Yes. True blue in the most honoring of fashion. So triple blue banner there too, man. It's crazy at district championship. So Yeti Robotics heads into St. Louis with some
A little bit of clout.
quite some good confidence in there. So
Justin, does your team have a True Blue yet, Ridley?
No True Blue.
Not yet. Soon.
We're working on it.
We're working on it.
All right, we're moving on to FIM, aren't we? FIM, yeah. 3 FIM events to conclude MSC coming up this next week, which I'm so excited for. Starting with Woodhaven and Brownstown, 40 teams fought to secure the final few spots in district standings, and a few were just looking to get some more experience under their belt with the third play. It was longtime veterans and Hall of Fame team 27 Rush who would secure the number 1 spot, selecting a team who they beat a couple weeks ago in the finals and second seed 50-50, along with 37-73. The number 1 alliance faced little resistance, making their way into the finals, handily winning all their quarter and semifinal matches by at least 70 points. They would find themselves in the finals against the number 3 alliance of 31-75 Night Vision, Southfield District event winner 3604 Goon Squad, and rookie 6116 Cougar Robotics. The district championship was looking bright for the number 1 alliance. Ansley won the first match, 119-111, but the second match would see a comeback second match would see back and forth play, but a last-second score by the number 3 Blue Alliance would squeak out a 121-120 victory. In the rubber match, tough defense would be the nature of the match, but with a 128-105 victory, the number 3 Alliance would come out victorious. Congrats to the number 3 Alliance, along with 2 Kling Blings going out to 5090 for their DCA and Finals Award, and 3175 for their EI and Event Winner Awards. I just feel like we're seeing like a disproportionate amount of number 3 Alliances make it to the finals this year.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, there should be a decent amount, right? But it just seems like there's way more than what the average would be. I'm sure that's...
I got something on that one too.
Yeah, go.
So I watched that. I watched those finals. 27 is my original team, so I was rooting for those guys. They lost that second match by 1 point. In that match, it looked like they were up by a decent amount, and they go to the batter and they sit on that batter for 20 seconds. You can just know it's one of these deals like we just need to get on the batter, everyone get on the batter, and we got the match.
Yeah.
But man, in retrospect, you watch that match and you just scream into the screen, go pick up a ball and shoot one more ball because I needed it so bad.
Yep.
I'm actually going to talk about that with how your team did that in one of your matches. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's
their third match they went over a moat and 27 tipped over, so they didn't have,
that too.
Didn't have much of a chance the third match, so it's unfortunate.
That will happen. All right, moving on. Traverse City with another 40 teams featuring 74, 17, 11, and 34, 14 looking to claim their spot at MSC. It was a team who in their last district didn't even make it to the playoffs in 49-88 Uper Troopers taking the number 1 spot. 49-88 would reach past the top 8 and select 55-05, who already had a finalist and win under their belt, along with 1896. The number 1 Alliance would find smooth sailing into the finals, where they would face off against the number 2 Alliance of 36-88 Norsemen, 70-14 Chaos, and 61-28 the Automatics. The first match saw a red card assessed to the Red Alliance, and the number 1 Alliance just couldn't recover, with the number 2 Blue Alliance taking the second match with a score of 170-155. The District Tournaments Award would go to 1711 Raptors, and the double silver Kling Bling would go out to 5505 V2 Robotics. So our last one in Ann Arbor for FIM this week. Over half the teams down at the Ann Arbor District were over the number 5,000. And this being the last of FIM would definitely be up for grabs in the final MSC spots. Blue Ops Robotics, Team 4216, would secure the number 1 seed with 37 ranking points. 4 ranking points over the number 2 seed, by the way, and would go on to select the number 5 ranking, already double gold Kling Bling winner of 2771 Code Red Robotics, the Stray Dogs team, and 5008 Robo Lions. Once again, we say a relatively quick breeze for the number 1 Alliance into the finals, where they would face the number 3 Alliance at 36-41, 66, and 33-22. The first match saw the number 1 Alliance face difficulties and miss the capture while trying to shoot high goals against the 12 low boulders scored by the number 3 Blue Alliance, with low boulders winning out. Matches 2 and 3 saw a little bit different outcomes, though, as the Red Alliance adjusted and regained their stride with the last second score in the second match and a 145-141 victory, and completely dominating the third match with a 157-82 win for the number 1 Alliance. So get this, though. 2/3 of the number 3 Alliance would not go away with just 1 medal, as the Alliance captain, 36-41, would go home at Kling Bling with Chairman's Award and the Finals Award, and 33-22 would take home the double silver in the Endring Inspiration Award and Finals Award. So still not a bad day.
No,
certainly not.
At the very least.
We should also recognize the great job Tower did covering FIM, because it's a lot of events, and he does it every week, and it's not easy. I feel like he's
thank you.
Got a lot to do.
Yeah, they do have a lot of events.
Like one. This was 3 this week, but like every week Indiana only has
Zoom.
They only have, I think, 4 total.
I know.
And the FIM has
they have
3.
4 a week.
Yeah, a week.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
Yeah.
So great job, Tower.
Thank you, sir.
Those are tough to cover. All right, so I'm going to talk about Windsor. So after a great, exciting year of Canadian regionals, things wrapped up this past weekend in Windsor. 52 teams competed, and after 9 matches, it was the Fully Freeze 9-10 from Michigan who claimed the top spot. They wasted little time scooping up 2056 OP Robotics with their first pick and would add 49-20 at the end of the draft and head into the playoffs. After knocking off the number 8 and number 5 alliances on their way to the finals, they would meet the number 2 alliance and compete for regional gold. Led by 1305, 4678 and 5024, positioned themselves well after winning the first match by an almost 50-point margin. So again, 2056 back against the wall. The number 1 alliance, however, would battle back to win the next 2 and take the win. So congrats to them, as well as another shout out to 1305 Ice Cube, who added a Chairman's Award medal to their finalist medal for a little Kling Bling.
yeah. I mean, when we had Tyler Holtz on the show and Stan, one of the lead mentors there, I said that before. They've had their backs against the wall so many
I
times.
feel like at one of they hit Carthage had the end. It was like 8 times during their
Oh,
stretch.
they've been
They were
down
down
one.
match, yeah,
yeah,
and came back.
Was
so.
that just in finals, or is that any?
I don't know.
And I don't know either. But like they said, any one of those they could have lost.
Totally.
You know, any one of these regionals, and they've had a lot of things go their way. So.
Yeah.
You know, one thing to point out too, that regional is that 2056 was not the #1 seed
They were
as well
not.
too, which is quite interesting because I think the other two regionals, they were the #1 seed for both.
Yeah.
So and to I didn't really get that much chance to see 910 play, but with 910, that's a FIM team, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
With them taking the #1 seed as well too, for 2056 to accept as well, I would just think, like, if I've been an alliance captain the whole time and already going to champs, I'm like, you know, I don't know, maybe I'd want to captain my own alliance.
Yeah.
Still, but yeah.
Cool. So we're gonna go on to Lone Star. Justin is here from 118, so we'll kind of, I don't know, keep it light, and then we'll get his insight and input at the end. But so 66 teams played this past weekend, the Lone Star Regional in Houston. Some notable teams in attendance were 118, the Robonauts, 233, the Pink Team from Florida, 624 Kryptonite, 1477 Texas Torque, 2587 Disco Bots, 3847 Spectrum, amongst many, many others. 8 matches were played by all teams, and it was the already 2 regional winners this year, 118 the Robonauts, who took first place, scoring just over 3 ranking points per match. They had the lay of the land to choose from, and with their first choice, they selected 4587 Jersey Voltage, who ranked 5th, and 3755 Kleinbots with their second choice. This alliance hit their stride early and often, scoring above 200 points 3 out of their 6 matches, only scoring as low as 170. 3 regional wins on the year, putting in many miles to get there. Justin, can you kind of give us maybe your intake on what happened this past weekend at Lone Star, and just kind of maybe touch on just the process that you guys went through and everything that that entails?
Yeah, I'd say based on the numbers, Lone Star may not look quite as competitive as it has in years past. But there really was a large group of teams capable of playing the game well and scoring points. Some decent number of high goal shooters and overall good robots. Case in point, our second pick, 24th robot, 3735, was able to hang, and they did so in one of our semifinal matches. That may have been a bit of a steal, but it shows that the field was pretty deep. From the 118 perspective, we had a horrible first match with 0 ranking points, but then we slowly worked our way back up to #1 seed. As you said, we picked up 4587 Jersey Voltage, which is another pneumatic catapult shooter that's capable from scoring from the defenses, from the protected zone. Jersey Voltage is a team that probably not too well known outside of Texas, but I'd say they're quickly becoming one of our state's more competitive teams. Last year, they did a complete midseason redesign to create 148 clone that was really effective. They called it Ratman and Bobbin.
Yes.
And this year they've proven they can accurately score from the protected defenses, and they've won 2 regionals. So definitely a team to watch at Worlds this year.
Cool.
Other notes from the tournament, there was some definitely excitement on the other side of the bracket in the semifinals. The Pink Team seeded second. They paired with a second-year team and high goal score 54-31. And they also had veterans 57 as their third pick. They were playing 231 high voltage, 624 kryptonite, and rookies 58-29. The drama here was that 624 was desperately fighting for their world champ bid. Right. They were finalists at Alamo, where there were no wild cards there. They just missed a wild card after barely losing in the semis at Rocket City. So they're really trying to get that either a wild card or a win here. So they lose the first match to Pink by 2 points. They win the second match by 3 points, and then they lose the third match by 5 points. Yeah. The robot just not getting that better. So those are really intense matches.
Yeah, geez.
We're really good friends with those guys, and we definitely wanted to see them at champs. They got a high goal scoring robot that's definitely worthy of championships. So it was a hard loss for them, and it's a disappointment.
I'd have a community vote. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah. Vote for the best teams not to make champs and get them there.
Yeah, that's what we talked about that many times.
Yeah. Finally, there's a 231. So they definitely are going to be putting in some work. They paired with 148 to win Alamo. They had a high goal shooter they didn't have at Alamo. Maybe wasn't shooting as consistent as they wanted, but I think they can get there. They definitely have a lot of potential. And then I'll just add that it was an extra special event for 118 because our drive coach, Mason Marquis, he won Woody Flowers.
Yes.
That's great.
Awesome.
Our team captain, Jesse Westheimer, won Dean's List. they're both very deserving. We're really proud of them.
Yeah, Mason's a great guy and a phenomenal drive coach. If you ever had a chance to talk to him, he's definitely knows his stuff much more than probably 99% of the field out there. So
Yeah,
very well
awesome.
deserved.
Yeah, so overall, it's a great Lone Star Regional, and there's always rumors of potential move to districts. So maybe it was the last. Who knows?
Hey, Justin, you mind if I ask you? There was a couple audience questions that I think kind of fit in well to the event itself. Do you mind if I go ahead with a couple
Sure.
of those?
Yeah.
One of them was just overall talking about with 624 and the team that they are. Somebody asked, what was the reason behind picking 4587 over 624? They preface saying that 624 is making more high goal shots in playoff matches than what 4587 was. So, do you mind maybe not? You don't need to defend over picking a team, but what was the thought process in regards to why you felt 4587 was a good first pick?
I think that boiled down to who can play under defense. So we knew that 4587 for most of the tournament they were shooting from the batter, but we knew that they had a longer shot from the protected zone. 624 didn't. They had to kind of line up against the wall and kind of get in the right position. So we thought that they were unfortunately just more defendable. And 4587 they followed through. I mean, they were shooting, I would say, as accurately as we were from the defenses. So that makes it much more hard to defend an alliance when both of them can back up to the defenses in the protected zone and shoot. At that point, you got to start playing neutral zone defense, which then leaves the entire courtyard wide open. So it just makes it a lot harder to defend.
So one other question as well, too. Just I'm not sure exactly what your relationship is with 624, but what is your perspective of 624 not qualifying for championships? Like that, is that a huge shock to you, or how do you view that?
Yeah, it's disappointing. I mean, I think that they had a good robot this year. It maybe wasn't. I think they'd probably agree. It probably was not up to their last several years robots, but it was definitely very competitive. So we practiced with those guys. We've gotten closer with them, playing with them a couple times last year and the years before that. So for us, we wanted to play them in the finals because we thought we could beat them, but we thought we'd get them a wild card too and give them the champs. So that was it was disappointing. And like I said, the matches were really close. That could have gone either way. The pink team definitely, that's a low goal robot, but they've got some other weapons that they use, and they're good. They're good.
Very cool. 5 out of their 7 playoff rounds went to 3 matches that they played this year.
Oh, did that one as well too? Wow.
So
yeah,
they were all close.
They had some nail biting tournaments for sure. Even the quarterfinals here, they lost their first quarterfinal, and then had to come back and win the next 2.
Wow, crazy.
Well, thanks, Justin, for your insight on that. And we got one more event to cover, right, Justin?
That's right. So I'm going to cover Silicon Valley, kind of round out my California events for the year. So SVR was a battle of some of the West Coast Titans as 64 teams duked it out at San Jose State University. 3 teams, count them, 3 teams, went undefeated over the course of 8 matches.
Wow.
Those 3, the usual suspects, 254, 1678, and 971. 2 of those teams, 254 and 1678, tied with ranking points, with the top spot broken by the auto score tiebreaker in favor of 1678, who coincidentally had 254 auto points. To further their already blossoming Robomance, wasn't it time to try to get that going? Robomance? No? Good talk.
Good talk.
Sorry, Robomance, right?
Wasn't that you?
Yeah, I was muted. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. 1678 and 254 formed the top alliance, assisted by 1662. Not surprisingly, on the other side of the bracket, 2 teams who were seated 3rd and 4th, 971 and 368, paired up, along with 3303, and when the alliances met in the finals, there were some great matches. In a close match, the number 1 alliance was able to take the win with a margin of victory of just 1 point. And with that win, gained the momentum required to take the second match and the regional. Congrats to them, as well as 2035 Robo Rockin' Bots on the Regional Chairman's Award. So I thought that was interesting that the number 1 alliance was the number 1 and number 2 seeded teams. The number 2 alliance was number 3 and number 4 seeded teams. So everything just kind of fell almost where you'd expect, and that almost never happened. So, so that's that.
Hey,
can I just say that I love 971's robot?
It's sexy.
Cool robot. Yeah, it's the most robotic robot. Last year they had the most robotic robot in the game as well, and they followed it up with this one, which is even more robotic.
They do make good robotic robots.
Oh, yeah.
That should be
I love
that
it.
should be their slogan. We build robots.
Robots.
One thing I want to talk about is the two-ball auto that we saw at that event. And I think the 254 and Citrus Circuits, I think both displayed that successfully at this regional, I believe. Am I correct?
I don't know.
It was 971 hit it.
Did they?
I think
nice.
254 may have hit it in
Practice,
definitely
I think.
practice, maybe
Yeah.
maybe quals, but 971 definitely hit it.
That's awesome.
And that, I wonder as we go into championships and beyond for that onto Einstein, what the impact of that is going to be. And I really am interested to see, potentially robots fighting over the same ball and how that impact will work and how the penalties will be assessed that way. I'm not sure how many teams will have it. Maybe it is only those, 2-3 teams that we already saw now, but you would think there's got to be a couple teams working on that two-ball auto. Well, let me ask the question, Justin. Are you working on a two-ball auto?
We are working on a two-ball auto. It turns out it's
Secret's
really
out.
hard.
It's really hard.
It's hard. Yeah. I think we'll see more of them, but I don't know that we'll see a whole lot more. I mean, 2 of the 3 teams that have done two-ball autos have a turret. I think that definitely helps.
Sure.
And the other team is super robotic and fast, and they managed to do it without a turret. So.
Yeah, that'd be kind of interesting, Tyler, though, because the two-ball auto defense would be like across from the courtyard right there, right? So it might be interesting for teams to put something in like an anti-two-ball. Interesting.
Well, we'll see, because there's penalties associated with in regards to your robot going over the middle line as well, too.
Right, you'd have to snatch it just the way that they do, but
Yeah.
to make it so they can't get that much
It's like,
further.
it's like the
ahead.
can
It's
battles.
the new
all over
can
the
wars.
place. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be. It's kind of interesting.
All right. Anything else in regards to the events for this week?
That's it. I can't believe we're over.
I know.
It's like-
Let's move on. We got
it's
a
just an hour last.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it's a little bit quicker with only 16 events,
Me
but
too.
we do have a big soapbox topic to talk about this week, and it's time to talk about an events that happened that I actually witnessed this weekend, or at least witnessed part of it. A clash between parties in regards to the proposal of districts in Minnesota. So touchy subject, and let me preface by saying that I've been part of the Minnesota Regionals as an MC, as my team has gone there since 2008 in the inception, and with the exception of a really power trippy pit manager this regional, my experiences and Waves experiences at Minnesota events have been superb. I mean, literally the best ones out there that we've ever managed. The staff that runs that is absolutely fantastic, and I have a lot of respect for the staff that is there. So if you haven't kept up in the multiple threads on Cheap Delphi or other social media, here's the lowdown. A couple of firsters, who one is a mentor in a team in Minnesota, and the other hails from Finn, Indiana, handed out and posted flyers with messaging steering those in Minnesota to push for districts and to contact the Minnesota RPC to push for districts if they're interested. Now, there's many different paths to take here, and I'm going to try to take as an objective approach as possible and the best that I can. A few questions come to mind. One, since half the party was not from Minnesota, should they be sticking their hat or their business into Minnesota's business? 2, is the flyer misleading to teams in Minnesota? And 3, was the end messaging and contacting the RPC the right move? So to address the first question, is it all right for someone outside Minnesota to influence those inside of Minnesota to take action on something? And to me, newsflash, FRC is a global organization, and Minnesota influences many teams outside of its own state because of the policies that FRC has. Now, I understand that as someone who's a key stakeholder and puts in thousands of hours trying to make their organization better, does not like some random person coming up to them and trying to stir the pot. But based on the hearsay from the person handing out the flyers, many people at the events weren't even educated on the district model and both the advantages and potential disadvantages that it can bring. So yes, the Minnesota Regional Planning Committee did hold a town hall, but only so much can happen on this, and there was very low attendance from what I heard as well. And if somebody wants to go around the pits telling teams their opinion, so be it. This person isn't harming anybody, and if a pit did not want to talk to them, they could simply just ask them to leave. Now, if there's issues escalating past that, yes, that needs to be handled, but as far as I've been hearing and as far as I've been researching, that hasn't been the case. Number 2, is the flyer misleading? The flyer that was handed out does spell a lot of truths about the district model, and it's easy to point out that it's missing some of the cons of the district model, like requiring more events and many more volunteers, especially key volunteers, which is a whole nother bag of worms in Minnesota. And maybe these should have been put on there. But the messaging itself, it's meant to influence people. it's meant to make them find out more about districts. I don't believe there's anything misleading or not truthful on the flyer. It's one of those things where it's messaging, right? Your messaging is going to be what it is. And as long as it's a truthful messaging, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So number 3, should at the bottom of the flyer, contacting the regional planning committee with the website contact be the right move? And Nick, if you don't mind showing that once again, I have to admit, I was surprised that the contact was listed was as generic as it was, only directing those to a website contact form and not the individuals right at the bottom of the form there. And though in this circumstance, it would be wildly inappropriate to give any specific person's phone number and possibly even their email address, my question would be to those that, if not a generic contact form to the regional planning committee, who should teams be contacting in the future? To me, and I'm not saying necessarily the Minnesota RPC was saying, no, don't provide this contact info, but there seemed to be a lot of resistance to that. And to me, it's, if you're part of that, many FERC teams have become accustomed to a certain level of communication and transparency from FERC. And while, yes, the vast majority of these people serving on a state/region level are volunteers, it should not be out of the question for teams to expect a certain level of transparency and communication from their state and region levels. Regional directors are paid tens of thousands of dollars a year and should be interfacing with teams and communicating on a fairly constant basis. For a rhetorical example to give, if Minnesota is working on a 501c3 for state, they should be educating people about that. And I wonder how many teams in Minnesota know that that's a potential out there, that they are looking at moving either towards districts or towards self-sustainability even more. And those are important things to educate teams on, because the more you educate, yes, the more questions that come up will be, and more questions will be raised, but that's the role of committees and boards, to serve those of which you are benefiting. So Montoyas, I'll say that. So it's 2 Justins, right? I mean, am I wrong here to assume some of these things, or what is your take on this situation going on?
Well, it's definitely interesting. And actually, the way you kind of started talking about the different parties and the clash between some of the FIM and Indiana people with the Minnesota people, kind of sounds like an open convention of sorts, right? People are trying to lobby for support from one side or the other. I don't know. It would be interesting to really kind of get to the bottom of why the First in Michigan people really felt like it was so important that this flyer be handed out, whether it was purely educational or if there was some ulterior motive. I don't see how First in Michigan would necessarily benefit directly from moving Minnesota into the district model. So, I mean, I guess a little education isn't necessarily a bad thing, but leaving the cons out definitely is something that is a little sketchy as well. So it's certainly something new. I've never heard of anything like this going down in at a first event. So I'm sure it was kind of shocking for a lot of teams there. But
if I can say one thing in regards to that too, the interesting irony of this conversation I'm having is that if Minnesota goes to districts and doesn't bring Wisconsin with, we're screwed. Yeah. I mean, we have most likely second regional coming up in Wisconsin next year, which is fantastic. But I mean, if Illinois goes districts and Minnesota goes districts and neither one of those areas bring Wisconsin with, I am landlocked in to go to these 2 events, and we're interested in going to events outside of just Wisconsin, especially after this year. And we want to be able to go out more. And, I can afford to go to Chicago. I can afford to go to Minneapolis. I can't afford to go to Hawaii. And, I'm obviously, based on what I said, I'm very interested in the district model and the advantages it can bring to that. But to maybe clarify, Minnesota goes districts and doesn't bring Wisconsin along. I mean, we're in hot heat itself.
Right. So I think you kind of mentioned it, like these First Michigan doesn't benefit from this. Indiana doesn't benefit. So it's not like they're going there with like a selfish motives. You know what I mean? It's not like that. So I think I and a lot of people agree that Minnesota should go to districts. They had 123 teams across the street from each other competing on the same weekend. There's obviously a need there when a lot of these teams, like we've talked about in so many weeks now, only get 8 matches for the investment that they put in. And I don't think it's worth it. So I think and people are saying like a lot of these teams that they went up to don't even know what districts are, stuff like that. So I think there is maybe more education as far as who to contact. I think maybe it's good that's, maybe a generic without asking for permission to put somebody's email address on there. Just, I don't know. But I think those are great. You kind of brought it up a little bit, Tyler. Like, who should teams contact if they have ideas or have questions? Is their local regional planning committee accessible? Like, this could be not just in Minnesota, but is it accessible in our area? Is it accessible in California? Is it accessible in First in Michigan? I don't know. I can't speak to it really any more than kind of what I know, and we know a lot of people that are on our regional planning committee, but I think maybe these planning committees can be somewhat closed doors just because they get the people in that they need and they plan it out and they've been doing it for a while. But where is the alternate opinions? Where is the fresh minds in that are, the local and, students maybe that are on the board and stuff like that. So
not just who to contact, but who's actually listening. I think would be, who's actually interested in implementing things, not necessarily change, because everybody hears change, especially the old guard for things. And that's, that's a lot. We have a good thing going here right now. And not saying that to Minnesota in particular, but just in general, that's typically what you face when you go up to boards, when you go up to committees, because it is kind of the good old boys gang in many cases up there. So it's one of the things I think is the brilliancy of FRC, especially that Frank Merritt has brought in, is somebody that also listens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ridley, you've kind of been listening to all this, and you even mentioned earlier in the show about Texas possibly going to district events in the future. And one thing I've kind of learned about Texas is everything in Texas is really, really far away. Like nothing is like the towns or the cities that you hear of aren't very close together. So is the district model kind of the benefit of that local play? You get, 2 for the price of 1. You try to save on travel costs. Do you think that would apply down in Texas, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's probably really great for teams in the Houston, Dallas area, Austin area maybe. But yeah, there's a 10, 12-hour drive away. There's teams over on the west side of Texas that probably not quite as good. I'm not involved in a lot of those discussions on on how FRC in Texas would do districts. So I won't comment to that. I think that they're trying to work out those problems and move us along to districts at some point. I don't know if it's next year or if it'll be in the future, but I'm sure it's coming eventually.
Yeah, I don't know. Trent in the chat is saying the high rollers in Las Vegas are kind of in the same area. That there's only, I'm kind of just briefly looking through that. I don't know if it's true that there's only 9 Nevada teams. I don't know if that's right, but the same thing that like certain areas like Wave Robotics in Wisconsin, we're gonna have to get pulled one way or the other, and that these districts, which are kind of turning in, I guess Michigan, but MAR is a conglomerate of states. So that's true. There's a lot of distance between some Texas cities in there. So I think it's got a long way to go, but so we'll see. I know Nick is typing something into our thing.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and read that off.
Well, he's not done typing.
Well, he's done now.
There you go. So why do districts need to be locked into an area? If you make it the standard, you could go to the super regional model. Why essentially landlock? I gotta read that again. Do you know what he means by that?
Well, I think that I kind of think that that's the goal, even if they haven't necessarily been public with it yet, is once FRC finally moves to everybody's at districts, I do think the intra-district play is something that will kind of come back around. And I think what they've effectively done in that case is not much different than regionals, except now they're smaller venues, usually a lower team count, and 2 for the price of 1. So I'd like to think that that's where we're headed, where everyone will be in districts and there'll be inter-district play, and you can kind of play wherever you want. All the point system is consistent, that whole thing. So we'll hope it's headed that way, but we'll see.
Yeah, and there's a lot to happen with that still, and I think everybody acknowledges that. I don't think anybody's hoping at the snap of fingers that everything's going to go the way that what their vision is. Obviously, there's a ton of work behind that, and the people who do the work, definitely you got to respect those people who are actually putting in the time. There are a lot of people who do complain without putting in the time, and that's that's rough. But on the other hand, they're still your constituents, right? I mean, those are people you still should be listening to and enacting upon.
I don't know if it's too late at this point. Is it too late for a town hall meeting at this year's championship for FYI of districts or all about districts / I think it'd be kind of cool because we bring up districts so much, I feel like every week on the show, that maybe we should have our own little town hall over the summer at some point where we just kind of bring in callers and kind of talk about districts in general, because there's a lot, we don't know a lot about districts. We don't know the ins and outs of district, and there's a lot of questions about districts. So there might be something we can do over the summer. Might be
it's not a bad idea. And by the way, there are, as far as I can tell from the FRC website, there are 18 teams in Nevada.
18.
As far as I can tell.
Yeah.
So yeah, Trent brought up the Wisconsin Nevada district, and we're all for that. So actually, flights to Nevada are actually quite cheap here because of Allegiant Air. So, Ridley, anything else to add upon this at all before we move on?
No, I don't have anything else on districts.
Alrighty, so let's go on the lookout then. Each week, Mike, Justin, and myself will be selecting a district championship this week. And we want to preview that since it's coming up here. Justin, starting with you, which district champs this weekend are you going to be out on the lookout for?
So we're going to talk a little bit about the New England Champs. So interesting enough, the field for the New England Champs is not quite complete yet, as the Pine Tree event concluded just last weekend. So things are still kind of getting jostled around. But I think everyone would agree. And again, it's my opinion, but I think 1519, who has won 2 events, and 125, who have won a regional and been finalists 3 times, are kind of the headliners and the big teams. They're going to attract a lot of attention, not detention. Teacher, right? At the district championship. So quickly looking at the team list, I think 78 Airstrike, 88 TJ squared. I mean, it's a district championship, lots of great teams here, but I think that it's going to end up coming down to how well 1519, 125, and you can't forget 195, the Cyberknights, who also have a great robot. They've won 2 events so far, and they're going to be a force as well. So it's going to be a great preview, I think, of some really high level play.
Cool. We'll go down the East Coast over to the MAR Championship. So we've talked about 7 different MAR district events this season, all leading up to this coming weekend when the MAR District Championship will be held. Lehigh University in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania will host this event where 60 teams from the MAR District have qualified and or have accepted. Leading the way with 145 district points is 225 Tech Fire, thanks to their 2 district wins. And following them are 2590 Nemesis, 1676 Pascack Pioneers, 1257 Parallel Universe, and 5624 Tiger Tech. That's a top 5 there in MAR. So 7 of the 60 teams have already qualified for championships. So lots of spots are still open for qualifying. Based on scores from earlier this year, as well as other district championships that have already taken place, I expect winning elimination scores to be like in the 150s. Lots of great successful teams this year, so it'll definitely be interesting to see those who comes out on top of the rankings. Scouting will be absolutely huge as always, as we've seen multiple number 1 seeds go down to much lower seeds. Just in addition, teams that have already succeeded well this year who will also be competing is 365 Mo, 25 Raider Robotics, who both those teams are kind of making a comeback this year as opposed to previous years. So as well as many others that are competing as well. So good luck to all those teams, and we'll be watching this weekend.
So there's definitely, as we know, many district championships this week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, right? I can only cover 1. I could cover more, but we'd go on forever with that. So I have to pick MSC. MSC Champs is just going to be nuts this year. And it is every year, right? But there's literally too many teams for me to even list here, because I'd be going on for 50 teams on that. And Mike said 7 events. I don't know. What are we on? 50 50 FIM events this year or what? But MSC doesn't look to disappoint. With the confirmation today, by the way, 2 of 2 MSC fields, which is awesome. Only one can assume that this means that it's going to go to 16 alliances again. I don't know if they've actually confirmed that yet, but I would assume, right? List of notable teams, way too vast to go through, but I'm going to provide a couple predictions. How's this? Nick's prediction is obviously 27, or he's just showing all the teams. But I'm going to provide my prediction. If they're on the same field, of course, I don't know what field, what teams are going to be on, but I see 33 pairing up with 1023, facing off against 67 and 2834. So those are my predictions. We'll see how that works out, and watch none of those teams will be in the right fields together, but that'll happen. So check it out this weekend. See which powerhouse MSC teams advance to the championships. So excited to watch that.
Tyler, just count it up. You've covered 21 Michigan events this year.
21, you say?
21.
That makes me 3 times better than you.
That's
good math.
Great.
All right, but guys, yeah, the cool thing is this week though too is with only 5 events going on, there's no reason you can't watch all of them.
That's true.
And so that every single one will be on. And I think, if I'm correct, I think the Indiana State Championship is a Saturday Sunday event.
Oh.
So I could be wrong with that. I don't remember if they're all the same days or not. But regardless, it's watch all 5. There's no reason why you can't do it. Have many monitors going at the same time.
That's right.
All right, so every week during the competition season, we'll continue to feature strategies conceived by our friend Ryan Gwynn, who believes that teams who utilize his brilliant ideas will wind up on Einstein. And one team did it this week. Let's take a look and see what Ryan has provided for us.
Now get ready for Ryan's Awesome Einstein Strategies of the Week.
You can do it, there's nothing to it. You can do it by yourself, had to ask for help. you were small, but now you're bigger, you can do it all. You're feeling proud as we can tell, 'cause you can do it by yourself. You're feeling proud as we can tell, 'cause you can do it by yourself.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
So it didn't work
Now
out as
get
well
ready for
as what
Awesome.
was designed onto the paper. But usually we pick a team, right, that would do a strategy that Ryan's offering for us. But since we saw a kind of strategy like that
actually saw
implemented, yeah, I would like to bring up another time where I saw something like this. And we're going to go way back to 2007 at the Midwest Regional, where Coach Raul on 111 Wildstang convinced two of his alliance partners in qualifications to literally just stack themselves on top of each other and not move the entire match. And if you recognize the 2007 game, you got points for elevating another robot up in the air. So literally, he just told the two teams, don't just stay there, don't move at all the whole match, and we'll get enough points to win. And they won the match, which was absolutely insane. But I'm just thinking, yeah, like how, what do you guys think about what you saw here today? Like what? I mean, there's only maybe somebody in the chat knows exactly what went on, but what would you guys? What do you believe actually? What was the thought process to this, or what went on with that? Ridley, why don't we start with you?
I love it. Just maybe they knew they were going to lose that match and they wanted to give the crowd something to get excited. I think it's
crowd, please.
I love
it.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know if they knew maybe their draft champion was dead. They're trying to get him over in the courtyard to put him on that batter for some reason. I don't know. Maybe that was.
I don't know how they're going to get over the ramparts. But all right.
It's the easiest of all of them, I guess.
More power to you. I thought that was pretty cool too.
So maybe we'll have some more animations going on, but teams keep going, do those strategies that we see, especially at district champs. You got it. I mean, if you're not going to get into elims anyways, you might as well do it, right?
That's right. Have some fun.
And you'll get on the show. So
yeah, right.
All right, Justin, we do have some Q&A for you, if you don't mind us going through some of the other ones that the audience said. And if I missed a couple from the chat, I do apologize. We try to get as many as possible, and we are on a time frame as well, too. So I'll start with the first one, and then Mike and Justin, if you want to kind of alternate between the other ones. So there was kind of a combined question between Sigma the Fox and Anna Smith, who asked, having witnessed the havoc in this game and what it can wreak on the wiring and electrical connections, and having a chance to ask an experienced team like 118, I was wondering if you had any tips for securing connections to the PWM, DIO, different ports on the Robo Rio. What was your guys' magical trick?
I wouldn't say it's magical. We are running a Spartan board, one of the 971 Spartan boards. All the connections come out of the top of that. We run a piece of polycarbonate that basically squeezes those down into the Robo Rio or Spartan board. So there's no physical way that they can come out. And then it's clear, so you can check them. That seemed to work pretty well. For other connectors, we hot glue. We use a lot of hot glue and try to keep things connected.
Sometimes easier than you think.
Yeah.
Hot glue seems to do a good job. I mean, the biggest thing is the radio power. On the practice robot, we see that have the most problems. Radio power, if that wire's jiggling around a lot and you lose radio power, I think that's the cause of a lot of the dead robots we see, dead for about 45 seconds, and they come back to life. The radio is rebooting somehow.
So one thing for us that helped us a lot with that was actually using power over Ethernet. So we don't plug that little black connector into our robot or to the radio. We bring in power right from the Ethernet, so it's a really solid positive click-in connection.
Nice.
And that really helped us a lot.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So coming in from Caltran on 2410 metal Mustang. So they said, what's the secret to 118 strategies for what some would call, quote, outlandish end game strategies, like pursuing ideas for like hanging off the bridge or firing a grappling hook up the bar. And then along that, Sam from 2869 Regal Eagles asked if you regret the grappling hook.
Hanging off
regret the grappling hook? No, we do not regret the grappling hook. It's awesome. It's fun. The grappling hook was a fun one this year.
And deadly.
As far as the first question, I think a lot of times we come up with some dumb ideas that we're not smart enough to realize are dumb ideas, and we just we keep pursuing them.
See,
until-
2012.
Hey, that was a good.
No, it was a great idea. Just illegal, right?
Yeah.
Hey, it was not illegal. We have a long debate about that one. Regardless, yeah, we do sometimes try to push ourselves, and we come up with some outlandish stuff. But a lot of it's because we got some people on the team who just like to build cool stuff.
Yeah.
The grappling hook this year, that was one. Every year there's a hanging game. I feel like a grappling hook comes up in the brainstorming, usually by some students, and it kind of gets pushed off to that doesn't really work. You can't really do that. And this year we had a group of students with a dad that went on their own and prototyped a kind of pneumatic launcher, and they brought it at the end of the meeting, and it latched onto the bar, and all us veterans, we raised our eyebrows like, wow, maybe this really can work. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I know you guys must have done it at some point. How high would that grappling hook go if it wasn't attached to a tether?
I know you've done it.
It goes a safe distance.
Okay.
Very safe.
All right.
That's funny. All right. You got the next one?
Sure. So Pandemonium from FRC 1836, the Milken Knights. So now that the low bar 2-ball autonomouses have been demonstrated in matches, will teams take it further? Do you think an Einstein Alliance will have a double 2-ball auto? If so, what 2 defenses do you think that they will be using or utilizing?
As I said before, I think 2-ball auto is hard. I think that we're going to see some more teams doing it. The low bar just is a nice opportunity to put a ball where you can come back and get to it pretty easily. Coming back over defenses and getting to the exact same spot, I think it's going to be hard. So theoretically, I could see like a portcullis in position 4. I could see maybe that happening, but otherwise, no. I would not expect to see 2-ball autos on Einstein.
I agree. I think the portcullis is most likely, if you're going to see one other than the low bar, just because it's the least amount your robot might have to potentially articulate or move to get through a defense.
Some teams do it really well.
Yeah.
Easily. Really easily. So Dylan from 1806 says, I noticed you guys had your robot shooting from the lane 5 or the position 5 outer works in practice at Lone Star. Did that have anything to do with gaining a positional advantage for defending opposing robots from entering their secret passage via crossing their own defenses?
No, it did not. I just it has to do with trying to shoot as quickly as possible. So coming over the 5 position instead of going to 4 or 3, being able to shoot from 5. One of the early regionals, we saw 5172, I think. It's kind of a team I had never heard of from Minnesota. They were shooting from the defenses really early in this competition season. We saw them shooting from the 5 position and thought, well, we need to be able to do that too. So yeah, we just practiced that shot, and it's all about just trying to shoot as efficiently as possible.
Fantastic.
So one more question from the chat that we had here from Anthony on 3175. Yes. Is having an amazing beard or facial hair a requirement to be a 118 mentor?
Yes, it's a requirement. We have some female mentors that are really struggling right now.
Oh,
Or are they?
Fake beards don't count.
Right. And Ridley, I'm not sure if you'll have a chance to stick around for the post show or not, but if so, we can give you a call back. Are you going to be on later on?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe if it gets too late. But guys, if you got more questions, feel free to generate those in chat. We'll try to get those together for the post show as well too. So FRC Top 25 is coming up right around the corner. But let's give a big thanks to our guest today, Mr. Justin Ridley from last year's world champion, 118 of the Robonauts. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Justin.
Yeah, for coming
thanks
on.
for having me, guys. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, your insights to the show were fantastic, man. It's great to hear about what's going on with 118, and congratulations on your big win. Where can people find out more about the Robonauts and what you guys got going on?
Twitter. I guess we got the Twitter and Facebook like everyone else.
Facebook.
At FRC or at, what is it, Robonauts 118? I don't even know what our Twitter is anymore. Facebook's just Robonauts, so we keep those semi-updated. We're probably not the best with social media, but we're trying to get better.
And of course, watching your guys' amazing videos too. Keep it up, man. You guys, the videos you guys have.
That.
Oh, I do. I have to ask one question for you. Where was the inspiration between the handoff between each year's robot that you guys have?
Where was that inspiration? I think that we just did that. I can't even remember the first year we did that. 2011 maybe. And we thought it was cool, a cool shot. And we got one mentor on the team, Lucian, who that's like his most important thing with the video is him setting up the handoff every year. So, it'll always be in the video, I'm sure.
No, it's very memorable, and I think it's something that people always look for each year.
It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to create weird ways. I remember the
right.
big ball, having the frisbee robot somehow get the big ball. That was a little difficult. So, but yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Thanks again, Justin, and
Thanks, Justin.
yeah, good luck to you guys at championships.
Appreciate that.
Thanks, Justin.
That's good. Thank you. And we'll gladly take one of those hats.
Right? Yeah. Send those along, please. Hopefully, he said he was going to. We'll say he did. Why not?
We'll say he did. We'll hold it to our
our imaginary.
All right. Well, we'll reset for FRC Top 25. Let's take a quick break to remind you this episode of Recap is once again brought to you by the great company, Andy Mark. Let's check out what they have once again for Tuesday deals going on today. And the one I got to point out to you is right up on top. Going to college, need some extra storage? Hey, why not get a yellow tote? Some nostalgia going on that you have there. Only for $11. So stack up, just get like 100 of them. They probably, I mean, I'm guessing, I don't know because I haven't talked to the baker or anybody, but I'm guessing they probably have like 3,000 of those left over in their stock from last year's game. So if you need some extra storage or you're looking for some good deals, go ahead and check out the deals of the day every Tuesday on their page. They'll have different deals for you. If you miss out, don't worry, come back. You'll find out different deals. You can also go as well too on their main page to their discontinued items as well. If you're looking for some side projects to do, some additional storage as well. And one thing I got to point out too is the Dura Omni wheels. I think those are definitely on sale because they weren't used as much in this year's game. So that's one thing. If you're looking to stock up for future year's game, go ahead and stock up on everything you can. Literally just hit add the cart for everything, place the order, put the PO under your team. Don't tell anybody about it and then let it show. No, don't do that. That's not good. Go ahead to andymark.com and thank you so much for the amazing support Andy Mark has for us week after week after week.
Thanks, Andy Mark.
Yeah.
The French guy fell off his bike.
We forgot we turned our mics off and we were making a joke about your purchase order, your thing.
You haven't done that before?
Nobody heard us because our mics were off. We were left to ourselves. So anyways, this starts the top 25 for week 6. It's becoming that point in our thing that we're saying, can't wait to see it at St. Louis. They're preparing for championship. Like it's just each week just kind of flies by and we're already here and it's amazing.
Yeah.
So, lots of district championships coming up this weekend, and then that's it, man. So we did we're a little different just because all the district championships are on the same week. So we did include teams that competed in district championship on this past weekend in the top 25. Years past, we've done something a little different. So that being said, next week will be just the 5 district championships, just those teams. We will have a top 25 just for them. And then do we want to say what our plan for next week is?
We can talk a little bit about it. So next week next Tuesday we're going to do a recap of the events that went on, a little bit of preview depending on what gets released, and we are going to have a very special show next Friday as well too. More details to come for that and everything we're allowed to disclose as of yet. But we have a very exciting show coming up next Friday as well, which will be interesting because I will be at Vex Championships doing it out of my hotel room. So, but yeah, stand by for that. As soon as we get more information, we can pass on to you guys. We're very excited to pass on what we're able to, and just stand by, watch our social media, watch Sheep Delphi will be posting on there in regards to it. And it's something about just one champs next year. I'm not sure. No. Sorry. Never mind. Not that.
It's too bad that I'm not going down to Vex Worlds a little bit earlier because then we could be.
Oh my gosh, that would have been awesome.
We could have been on the same set. That would have been fun.
That would have been great.
Yeah. And if you guys are going to Vex Champs, come by and say hi. I'll be emceeing and announcing one of the fields. I have no clue what I'm doing in particular, I should probably actually read what the game is.
We should plan this out better. The 3 of us should all have like one field or the next year.
It'd be awesome.
It'd be fun.
Depends which championships our teams are going to.
Oh my gosh.
Moving on.
Don't bring that up right now.
And yes, you can all come crash the show at Vex Champs as well. Just feel free to hit me up on Facebook and let me know, or see me at the event. We can definitely all chill out afterwards too.
There is a good.
Got some adult diet sodas.
We should do something. That would be fun.
No, too bad.
It's only a week away.
Only a week away.
Crazy. All right. Cool. Ready to do it?
Bum, 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 bum. Wow. I'm ready.
Let's do it.
I guess I'll start it off here at 25 with team number 1418.
From Falls Church, Virginia, George Mason High School, it's Vay Victus, 43-13, winners at North Virginia District, winners at Greater DC, and winners at the Chesapeake District Championship.
So Vay Victus finishes their season squeaking their way to the top 25 after an amazing run this season. Ranking 11th at their first event, they were selected to the #1 alliance and won the event. Their second event, ranked first and won the event. Then they competed this past weekend at the Chesapeake District Championship, where they again ranked first, selected the same team they won the second event with, and won the district championship. Just tells you how hard it is to get in the top 25 at this point in the season. where win an event, win the district championship, 25th.
For sure.
So some might argue it's not a flashy scoring the logo all the time, but Vay Victus is a quick cycler, weakening the tower, allowing for captures. This is the key to their success, and we know they will keep finding success at the World Championship. Congrats to the kids from Fall Church, and good luck in St. Louis.
Crazy, man. Yeah. 3 district wins, winner, including a district championship win, 25th.
25th. That's how we roll.
That's it, man. Moving on to 24, we have 46-78.
From Breslau, I'm going to get in trouble for that one. Breslau, Ontario, Canada, Woodland Christian High School, it's the Cyber Cavs. 22-10 overall with the finalists at the Windsor Essex Regional.
So the Cyber Cavs are one of our new favorite teams after we saw them compete last week, the last weekend in Waterloo in person. They have a crazy consistent high shot mixed with being able to take the Sallyport and drawbridge in auto. This team gets the job done, and we're excited to see them take the field again this past weekend at the Windsor Essex Great Lakes Regional. Finishing 5th, they were selected second overall after OP Robotics, if that doesn't tell you how good this team is, by 1305 Ice Cubed. These two added 50-24 Raider Robotics and headed to the eliminations. They beat the number 7 and number 3 alliances to face the number 1 seed in the playoffs. Winning the first match with 192 points, they only needed 1 win out of the next matches to take the victory, but unfortunately they just couldn't get it done. But they did pick up a wild card spot, so we are very excited for them to be able to attend championships, which we hope we can see them on the field in St. Louis for sure. Great team.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to that alliance for taking that number 1 finals 1 match there too.
Yeah.
I was definitely as I was at the Minnesota regionals, checking on my phone over, I'm like, wait a second, they lost. And I looked, I'm like, oh man, I bet you that team isn't. I didn't really get a chance to watch the regional, but as you guys said, that was definitely one of my favorite teams out there. Just be able to do the drawbridge in autonomous. So I look forward to seeing what improvements they might implement for championships.
Yeah, I mean, they had a little drama going on too. Just 2056 coming off their first loss ever, potentially their second loss.
Yeah.
But 46-78, 1305, and 50-24. Just couldn't get it done. But great robot again by the Cyber Cavs.
Yeah, they were definitely one that impressed us at Waterloo.
For sure.
I love the drivers in the chat, and he said can confirm. I think can confirm is definitely like an Ontario Canadian thing. Like can confirm.
Can
confirm. Can confirm. Like yes. Like yeah. That's why.
Can is short for Canada.
Can confirm. Plus a Canadian comedy show that I stumbled upon.
Well, what's
They
he
say
can
that all the
confirming
time.
now?
Oh, I don't know what they were talking about.
Do you not say that on the East Coast or what?
Can confirm?
I don't know. Maybe it's a Midwest thing too. I think it's a gamer thing.
I started saying it. Anyway, there's that FRC Top 25 segue we've been missing.
Sorry, I got lost in the chat.
All right. To 23 and team number 2175.
From Woodbury, Minnesota, Math and Science Academy, it's the Fighting Calculator, 17-9, winners at the Minnesota North Star Regional.
So getting unpicked at their first regional, the Fighting Calculators made some changes and returned to their home state to compete at the Minnesota North Star Regional. They certainly did turn their season around as they ranked first to top the 60-team event. Scoring 3 RPs per match, they selected 3130, the Errors, and 3042, the Cobalt Catalysts, to join their alliance. 2175 crosses defenses in auto, takes shots high, and then can put them in the high or low goal during teleop. The synergy amongst this alliance was the key to their success, taking down the number 3 alliance in the finals in 3 matches. Tower, not to put you on the spot, but can you speak to the number 1 alliance, 2175 in particular?
Sure, yeah, with 2175. So one of the things with their team that I think that they improved on a lot is at the beginning of the regional, they're having a lot of issues with ball security, or boulder security, sorry. As we went over defenses, sometimes the boulder would pop out, or as they were getting set and ready to fire, the boulder would jostle a bit. And one of the things that 2175 really improved on over the regional was getting either the outer work shot or getting their shot off a lot quicker. And as we played defense, as our alliance partner played defense against them, they were able to adapt and start actually scoring low goal in a couple of times. And they were a little bit slower at that, but I think what the calculators ended up developing was a good consistency amongst their team. They definitely, they weren't, I think, the most high scoring robot out there, but I think they had a strong consistency as they got into the playoffs.
Cool. Fantastic. Thank you.
I mean, that's crazy. And I know we said it, but Funding Calculators goes unpicked at their first regional and then first
Great
at the 60-team Minnesota regional.
Yep,
So
fantastic
great
turnout.
adaptation and way to go. So that was 23 and 22. We have team 133.
From Standish, Maine, Bonnie Eagle High School. It's Bert, 30-4 overall. Winners of the Pine Tree District event.
I want to kind of bring him up because BERT stands for something, but I'm going to get back to that in a second.
It's got to be robotics. team.
Bonnie Eagle Robotics Team.
Oh, hi, Bert.
Oh, that's what it stands. Never mind. I was going to say something. All right. So as Justin said, Bert only has 4 losses on the year. And this past weekend at the Pine Tree event, they improved on their semifinals appearance at the North Shore event earlier this year. At the Pine Tree event, they finished second overall with an exact 3 ranking points per match. And they were selected first by the number 1 seed, 15-19 Mechanical Mayhem. Adding 56-33, Hyde Phoenix, they headed to the playoffs. Bert crosses defense with ease and has a really cool, really linear catapult shot into the high goal and can climb at the end. Between them and 15-19, putting them in the high goal, it was hard to beat. Scoring over 200 twice in the playoffs, never below 177, and 181 twice in the finals. This alliance just blew out the competition. They head to the New England District Championship this coming weekend as a favorite with lots of momentum. Good luck and definitely welcome to top 25. First time ever, we believe. I don't remember ever saying Bert. So
You didn't see Bert?
Bert. All right. Very cool.
From 22 to 21, team number 231.
From Pasadena, Texas, Pasadena Independent School District. It's High Voltage, 22-5-1. Winners at Alamo and semifinals at Lone Star.
So we saw High Voltage last in week 2 when they competed at the Alamo Regional, where they would go on to win that event with almost a month to the day. They competed again in Texas this past week at the Lone Star Regional. They finished third, only playing 8 matches in this massive 66-team regional. They ended up captaining the number 3 alliance and selected 624 and 58-29 to their alliance. These Texas regionals are always tough, especially with the caliber of teams they attract. And even though they got through the quarterfinals and pushed the semifinals to 3 matches, they just couldn't get that second one in semifinal match 3. But congrats on your incredible victory back in the Alamo. We look forward to seeing what you can accomplish in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm. And you kind of touched on it earlier, not to take away from High Voltage, but 624 going to a 3rd match yet again this season. So it's tough, but congrats to High Voltage. And like we said, just have to kind of stick out in Texas there. A lot of good teams. So congrats. All right, moving on. Here in the 20th place, we have a couple members as part of this show, Team 2826.
From Oshkosh, Wisconsin, Oshkosh Recreational Department is Wave Robotics, 19-4 overall with the finalists of the Minnesota North Star Regional.
19-14, yep.
19-14,
So after
sorry.
after a disappointing exit in the semifinals at the Wisconsin Regional,
Wisconsin.
for a lot of reasons that were out of their control, they made some exciting changes and headed to the packed 60-team Minnesota North Star Regional. Wave's all-around consistency in play was definitely noted, getting back to be that team that we saw just dominate last year's play. Finishing 4th with just under 3 ranking points per match, Wave captained their own alliance from the C3 seed, making some wise picks in 21-94 and 25-74. They would play the 6th seed, winning in 3 matches, as well as the number 2 seed, also winning in 3 matches. Both of these 2 rounds, Wave was down 1 match, but battled back to win the next 2. In the finals, playing the number 1 seed, Wave would take the first match, but just ran out of steam and canned air, apparently, and would take home the finalist medal as it stands now. Wave did not qualify for champs, but we hope they get in.
We didn't? Oh, 4-letter expletive.
We hope they get on the wait list, as we think we still have yet the best to see of Wave this year. So, Tyler, do you want to add in any thoughts or anything you want to add to it?
Yeah, I'll bring up a couple of things that you specifically mentioned. One, the first thing at the regional, we had an issue going into the event. We were really excited to go to the second event, say, oh yeah, we're going to get all this practice time. We ran into an issue with our drive rails, in which unfortunately set us back pretty much mostly on Thursday, and we didn't even get on the field till the end of the day. So that was a big disappointment for us, as we didn't get a whole lot of time to tune our PID for our shooter. And as you see halfway through the regionals, when we really started hitting our stride. I believe in our fourth, fifth, and sixth match, we scored 9, 10, and 10 balls respectively in those matches.
Wow.
So we definitely, the potential that we wanted to see was there. The problem is that it wasn't from the location that we wanted it to be. So we were able to start finding out where our sweet spot was, but it was that halfway point in between the batter and the outer works. Yeah, and it was really hard. We couldn't quite get the position we wanted to from the outer works, and I think that was a big disadvantage for us. A couple interesting things to note in regards to the playoffs in particular. We were really hoping, that the playoffs seeded a little bit differently with that. There was an interesting thing at the end of the at 31-30's last match, where at least we believe that a cross wasn't counted a couple times in a low bar, which I think would have reseeded the alliances a little bit differently. And I don't know the way that would have panned out. But as we went into the quarterfinals, the first match started in our second pick, Robo Husky. They totally blew the breaker on the robot right before the match started. So literally
That's what happened to the teams of Canada.
Yeah, went the power on the robot and nothing worked. So we actually pulled them off the field the first match, just so they could have more time to repair it. So that was a big thing for us to climb back through in regards to the second, third matches for that. Moving on into the other matches against the number 2 seed, which we declined, is always an interesting situation to deal with. Those were very tough matches. We started to see a lot more defense happening. And as we went into the finals, as we started getting there, we started noticing our motors kept getting, just as we're playing through matches each time, just kept getting hotter and hotter. And literally, we were asking every single team, does anybody have canned air? Does anybody have canned air? No response, unfortunately. So we actually resorted to going to the first aid station and getting ice packs to try to actually get our motors to cool down a bit. And it worked temporarily for us and got us, we won the first finals match. And a lot of that, obviously, attuned to some strategy, but we do recognize 31-30's intake wasn't working that well. And as we went to the second and third matches, you could just start to see our drive started to degrade a little bit more into the third match. The robot itself, literally, if you watch the third match, the robot just was not driving. And it's an unfortunate thing, right? And it's easy to say, well, we played so many matches, but you know what? So did 5 other teams that we were with and against in the finals as well too. And it's a disappointing way to go out. Obviously, you want to go out performing at your best, and we tried our best, and that's where we sit. So yeah, we'll hope for a wild card. And if it comes, it comes. And if it doesn't, we'll reorganize and rebuild. 2014, we didn't make the champs, and we had a pretty good year the year after that. So we'll definitely take the extra time to rebuild and try to move forward.
For sure. Yeah. Crazy. They're starting to list in the chat at the teams that haven't made it. 399, 3255, 2826, 469.
I can't believe 399 hasn't made
624.
it. They're still doing RoboProm, by the way.
Oh, they didn't make it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not making, but I talked, Dave Voracek, who's a lead mentor on the team, actually comes and announces in Minnesota, a good buddy of mine, because his family's from there. And he's like, yep, nope, we're going to send kids and run RoboProm. And if we have to run 2 next year, then so be it.
So, Tower, one more question, just because I've always been interested in, because you guys obviously been in the top 25 a lot. But this is the first time we've had you on the show, I think. When it says Oshkosh Recreational Department, how does that actually work for you guys? Like, are you not affiliated with the school, or?
Oh, that's a good question. I'll only take a couple minutes so we don't go too long on it.
Yeah.
But so when we founded as a team, we actually founded as nothing, right? We're just a group of individuals, and as we started to look for, our due diligence and our insurance, that sort of thing, our rec department is actually ran by our school district, but we avoid a lot of the red tape with the school district. So we get the benefits of insurance, facilities, for example. Like we technically rent out a basement of a middle school. That's their tech ed area, but we don't pay for it.
That's cool.
But we also avoid the red tape of, we can bring in parochial school students, homeschool students. We can set our budgeting for things the way we want. We have a lot more control over our money as well too.
Nice.
Both good and bad for that as well. But
it's a lot of kids from that district, though.
Yes, and one of the disadvantages though too is we also, while we get the facilities from the district, we also do not receive any funding from our district.
Right.
Which I always say means we can't be cut, but it still would be nice.
That's true. Wondering if you're going to get money every year.
What is the school district?
It's Oshkosh Area School District.
Okay. Cool, man. Thanks. You never
I
know.
noticed that
You never
too,
know
and I
who
was
might be in
wondering.
the chat though that might be interested in that information, because it might apply to their situation.
Very cool.
Oh, side note, we're very interested in hearing about other teams that aren't directly affiliated with their school district in regards to funding, that sort of thing. So
Yeah,
we'd be
totally.
delighted as we start to grow. We'd be delighted to hear more about what you guys do. So feel free to either hit us up on the firstupdatesnow@gmail.com, or my email address is tylerolds@waverobotics.com. We'd love to hear about how you guys run things as well.
Fantastic.
Now, one last question: Do you have like free access to the school anytime you want, or do you have to follow school times or school breaks?
Yeah, so luckily I have very good rapport with the principal of the school that we're at, and I actually have keys to the school. So
Nice.
we can we have to reserve it, but I can say I'm going to reserve it till midnight every night. And as long as we're there and as long as we're utilizing it, we're, if it's a controlled ventilation system, they want to be able to know when people are in the building. But for the most part, we can be where we want. We also have an offsite practice facility, which is actually in an old abandoned school that somebody bought and is starting to repurpose. So we're in a old abandoned gymnasium right now, which is actually allows us about 2/3 of a field, which is great.
That's pretty
That's
cool.
awesome.
All right,
Cool.
cool. Thanks, man.
All
Well,
right.
figuring it might be the last time we talk about Wave. We should at least get them a little more time.
Chirp.
Ouch, man.
I'm just saying it. That's just the reality.
Savage.
Savage. I'm just trying to justify to our listeners why we
Oh,
spend so much
gosh.
time on one team.
Yeah, producer Nick is yelling at the rest of Mike and Justin that you guys can't hear.
No,
Not Mike and Justin, just Mike. I said
Sorry,
nothing.
just Mike.
I said nothing.
Let's move on though.
All right, we'll move on from 20 to 19. Let's stop here at 1305.
From North Bay, Ontario, Canada, Near North Student Robotics Initiative. It's Ice Cubed, 29 and 15 overall, finalist at the Windsor SX Regional.
So the third of 3 regionals for the students of Ice Cube. They look to improve on their semifinal and quarterfinal appearances at GTR East and North Bay, respectively. The Windsor Essex Regional, they finished 7 and 2, where they had just shy of 3 ranking points per match, which got them the number 2 seed. They would captain their own alliance, being passed up from the number 1 seed, and would select 4, 6, 7, 8, and 50-24. Taking the first match, Ice Cube and Company were only 1 win away from beating the teams from Michigan and 2056, which would hand them the second loss on the year and ever in their history. But unfortunately for 1305, of course, the number 1 alliance would hit their stride and took the regional in the next 2 matches. Congrats to Ice Cube on the Silver Gold Kling Bling, taking home the Regional Chairman's Award.
Very cool. Congrats to Ice Cube. Heck of a run up there. Almost had it. All right. So we're going to go over to the Pacific Northwest in our 18th spot. It's team 1983.
From Seattle, Washington, Raisbeck Aviation High School at Skunkworks Robotics, 58 and 16 and 1 overall. And with the winners of the Auburn Mountain View, the winners of the Central Washington, finalists at Philomath, and finalists at the district championship.
Oh, they get a lot of events with districts. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
So with 3 banners and 4 medals on the year going into the Pacific Northwest District Championship, Skunkworks was looking for some more hardware to their impressive run this year. We really don't think that Skunkworks gets the recognition that they deserve. We at least say this a few times a year. We brushed on it, last week and in years past. A couple of years ago, 1983 was completely snubbed from the top 25, or at least very buried, winning 4 events or 4 regionals maybe at that point before they went to districts. But they're back at it, winning 2 events, finals at a 3rd, and a district chairman's award in there as well. At the Pacific Northwest District Championship this past weekend, they kept up their winning ways, finishing 2nd after 12 matches, scoring 40 ranking points. They were selected first overall by rookie 5803 Apex Robotics, who beat the Skunkworks most recently at Philomath. They added 3663 CPR and headed to the finals, playing 3 matches in both the quarters and semis. They would end up facing the number 5 seed in the finals and just couldn't put up the scores they did in the quarterfinals and semis, scoring only 117 and 122. But congrats to the Skunks. Good luck in St. Louis. You kind of touched on it when you read it. They've already played 75 matches this year
Jesus.
in the district system, 4 events. So what's the dollar per match on that? I know part of the graphic in that flyer
Value.
was the cost to match ratio. Or whatever. But 75 matches heading into championship. Now, people can argue that takes more of a toll on your robot playing that many, but as a team that, if my team only went to 1 event and qualified, played 8 plus maybe a perfect 6 in eliminations to play a total of 14, to play a team that has played 75, that's crazy. That's just the amount of experience that they've gone through to get to this point just gives you so much more value and so much more competitive advantage, I believe, at the championship level.
Yeah, no question about it.
Crazy. 75 matches, man. That's crazy. Get out of here. Nick
So,
is telling us that 125 neutrons from Caltran in the chat that they have the potential of getting to 99 matches this year for championship.
how do you build a robot that's that robust in this year's game? That's nuts.
That's wild. That's like kind of complete side. No, that's kind of how I think, like, 'cause, right, we build robots that can't survive a few matches, but these engineers, obviously they're getting paid or whatever, very good money, build cars that last years and years and years with that nothing go wrong. Or I was thinking today, because I follow a lot of the NASA and the International Space Station stuff, like that this space station in the middle of outer space is still functioning the way it's supposed to. It's wild. Very, very cool and inspiring.
I'm trying to figure out how they get their kids off school that much.
Yeah. Oh, maybe it's like Hawaiian kids. They bring different groups or something like that.
But being the district
could be.
events, you only have to miss that like one day of school versus like.
Well, only one
That's
of
a
their
good point.
district events was a Saturday, Sunday. The rest of them were Thursday,
True.
Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday. So,
Yeah.
crazy.
Cool. All right, moving on. That's you.
17th ranked team 1538.
From San Diego, California. It's High Tech High School. This is the Holy Cows. 25-11 overall. Semifinals of Ventura. Finalists at the Arizona West.
So I haven't heard too much from the 2013 Hall of Fame inductees this season. However, it's hard to compete in California, especially recently. This past weekend at their hometown regional, they hoped to take it the distance in San Diego after an exit in the semifinals at Ventura. They finished 6th, going 9-3 with a 28 RS. They would be taken 2nd overall by 41-38, and with the help of 41-46, headed to the playoffs. Off to an amazing start, they put up 206 in quarterfinal match 1. They would take the quarterfinals and semifinals in 2 matches each and would face the number 1 seed in the finals. Going up against the High Rollers, Team Appreciate, and the Prodentronics was no easy task.
Sure.
Yeah, the Holy Cows did take match number 1, but fell short in the following 2. But congrats to the Holy Cows, and we'll see them in St. Louis, of course, thanks to their Hall of Fame status.
I always think they're from Texas every time.
Really?
Because like the cows
The
things
cows, yeah.
going on. Like I always think they're from
The
Texas.
Steers. Holy-
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Holy Steers.
That's funny. All right, from 17 to 16, we have team 15-19.
From Milford, New Hampshire, Milford Area Youth Home scores its Mechanical Mayhem, 35-2 overall. The winners, the UNH and Pine Tree District events.
So with only 2 losses on the year, headed into the Pine Tree event this past weekend, Mechanical Mayhem looked to go 2 for 2 on the district wins for the season. They went 12-0, putting up 3 ranking points per match. They took the number 1 seed. Mechanical Mayhem can cross defenses in auto and put in a high goal shot in auto as well. I love the automation of their arm as they go over defenses to kind of keep their balance. It kind of just moves with them as they go over. Very, very cool. Their high goal cycles are the keys to their success. Selecting 133, we already talked about, and 56-33, Mechanical Mayhem wouldn't lose a match at this event, going a perfect 18-0. As Justin just said, 35 wins and only 2 losses is quite the feat. Good luck to them as they prepare for the New England District Championships.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely be a favorited team at New England District Champs this year. We definitely expect to see them at least in the finals.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're ones that can, like I said, cross easily and then shoot from the outer works.
Yeah.
Makes it, undefendable. And they have a higher shot too, the way their arm is. So defense is hard to kind of block that as well with some cheesecake.
Yeah.
All right.
Moving along to the 15th ranked team number 27.
From Clarkston, Michigan, it's Clarkston High School. It's Team Rush, 42-11-1. Finalist at Buckeye, winner Livonia, finalist at Woodhaven.
So getting some practice at a regional in mid-March, this FIM team took a silver medal there and looked to take gold at the Livonia event. And then took the gold at the Livonia event and looked for some more gold at Woodhaven this past weekend. Finishing first, they picked teams 50-50. That's kind of a cool. What's their team name?
Oh, I don't know.
I gotta look it
I
up.
got
Oh, I should know this.
Hope they. Oh, it's Cowtown Robotics. I feel like they kind of dropped the ball there.
50-50.
Oh, their motto is good. The glass is half full and the jug is a bottle of milk. I like that a lot. Great job. 50-50 and 37-73 to join their alliance in the finals, playing the number 3 seed. They took the first match, lost the second by only 1 point, and would unfortunately lose the third match, a match where they tipped over, crossing the moat. Thus, they would take home another silver on the year. Rush is a great bot who can take defenses and auto, lines it from the batter, and puts balls into the high goal. Congrats to them, and good luck at the FIM Champs, which is going to be an exciting time. We've talked about it a lot. Mike and I have been there before. It's just going to be a fantastic event.
Yeah, and Justin Ridley talked about it a little bit earlier. That one match, the third match, they they tipped over across. Oh, you
Yeah, you said that.
Sorry. I forgot I wrote that.
But it's still so unfortunate, once again, we
Yeah,
get
but-
robots that aren't, something happens where they can't perform to their fullest ability. It's always disappointing to see a robot lose that way.
Yeah.
Instead of robots, like at last week at Waterloo, where all the robots were going at peak performance by finals 3. That was the most exciting part. Red
Right.
cards, robots tipping over, that sort of thing.
That's
Definitely
always
deflates it a little
Yeah,
bit.
for sure. All right, moving on to 14. We have team 3130.
From Woodbury, Minnesota, East Ridge High School, it's the Errors. 22-7 overall, with the winners, the Minnesota North Star Regional.
So the Errors competed this past weekend at the Minnesota North Star Regional, finishing second overall. They would join 2175 in the number 1 alliance. These two schools are from the same town and are only 6 minutes apart. So I'm sure their chemistry and friendship really runs deep, kind of like 340 and 3015 in our area. The Errors have a stellar auto mode, crossing defenses and putting goals up or putting them up high. Excuse me. They continue to do that and Taliat, making high goal scoring look easy. I just love their shot. They catch the goal on the up of the parabola, putting in the bowler with force and ease. Great job, guys. They would take the regional in 8 matches, so awesome resilience and fight as well. It's tough sticking out amongst 126 or 23 teams combined in the 2 Minnesota regionals this past weekend, and they definitely surely did. So good luck in St. Louis.
So a couple things just to say about 3130 as well, being at the same regional. So 3130 as an improvement, I think they were out in the semis their match before. And by the way, I do apologize to the people on 3130. I actually did an interview with them, and I just didn't have time to process it. So I do apologize about that. I might try to get up on YouTube another time. But with 3130, a couple things. I think in the entire event, so all 16 matches they played, I think they only missed auto twice into the high goal, which is absolutely fantastic. And they got the outer work shot down. They were able to shoot with the catapult from the outer works, which pretty much makes you undefendable. We had, in the finals, we had Fondy Fire, our alliance partner. The way they actually try to implement their blocker is to actually raise up their climber to the 42-inch mark. It's a little bit low to that to try to block in. 3130, once they got in position, there was nothing we could do against them because they would just shoot right over, and their accuracy was so on spot that all we could try to do is try to deny them acquiring balls and try to deny them getting into position. But once they were in position, that the team was very automatic, and I definitely could see them being a sleeper pick for many championships, because they are a team that, I know them because I've been to Minnesota, and we are talking about them right now, but I'm curious to see how much people know about them. They, had a great run last year at the elimination rounds, and I look forward to another deep run by 3130 this year.
Cool, Tyler. Thanks for the insight on that. And that's what's great, is because this is a team I don't think has been in the top 25 before. We don't talk about much, but having people from across the country kind of chimes in, because we could tell you maybe a little bit about from this area, but that's what's great. And
I think they were last year when we won the North Star Regional with them last year.
Okay, cool. All right.
All right. From 14 to 13, we have team number 525.
From Cedar Falls, Iowa, Cedar Falls High School, it's Swart Dogs. 28-3 overall. Winners at Iowa, winners at the Minnesota 10,000 Lakes Regional.
So with hashtag Klingbleng of the gold variety at the hometown Iowa Regional, the Swart Dogs who are no stranger to the top 25, look for some more gold this past weekend at the Minnesota 10,000 Lakes Regional. Finishing second above 61 other teams, the students from 525 put up just under 3 RPs per match, going 7-1. They were selected first overall by 2052 Nightcrawler, who we may or may not talk about later. With a very unique drivetrain, the Swart Dogs crossed the fences with the most grace we've seen to date, and then with the help of their catapult, put up shots under the high goal. 525 would go on to get their 3rd banner on the year and get some great confidence heading to the World Championships.
Hey, Nick, can you put up a picture of 525 again?
Well, he's working on that.
Yeah.
I think 525 is like probably one of the night. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tower. Mine was going to be.
I was going to say, I think that's a 3-wheel robot, isn't it?
Yeah,
If I'm correct.
I believe so.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I should know because I saw them in person. I just don't remember. But to be able to go over the defenses like they do and shoot, like seeing that in person, you wouldn't think originally like they would have an easy time going to that, but they have such a wide wheelbase that they're able to get over most of the defenses with a lot of ease.
Yeah, and they go front and they go that one wheel first, and that's so like just watch a couple of match videos. Like it's really, really like smooth going over. Like you just kind of don't expect it, and the way they kind of like fetch for a ball is like really, really interesting. But it's very cool. So So
Yeah,
Nick is going to put up another one for us. He's got,
Producer Nick.
but very, very.
Well, and the one thing I know somebody in chat mentioned it too about 525 is their front wheel is a swerve pod as well too. So that's a really interesting way to drive. Like it's just I'm just trying to think, like I almost think you would drive that like you would like an RC car or something. So I wonder what their controls look like for that.
Yeah, sure. Very
So
cool.
there was also a robot in Waterloo that only had 2 wheels. Remember, they had and then the other 2 wheels were kind of like sliders.
Oh, I don't know if
was-
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, they try to go. You know the Batmobile that's in the Dark Knight, that sleek kind of. They even have like black plastic panels trying to
Oh, very
create
cool.
that look. So
Yeah.
that was kind of interesting as well.
Huh, very cool. So what was your segue?
For what?
I don't know. You were going to say something.
Oh, I was gonna say.
It was 2 wheels.
Yeah, sure. I was gonna say that from Iowa for some reason. I just once I read their team, like 525 was like the best like auctioneers like number. You can say 525. Like it's just like I don't know. It flows very well. 525 sold American. All right.
Very cool.
Love it.
All right. Let's keep it moving.
On
You're
the
up.
12.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll keep it moving.
Yeah, right. Waiting on you, Bob.
All right. In our 12th spot, we have team 233.
From Rockledge, Cocoa Beach, Florida. Rockledge, Cocoa Beach, Spates Coast, and Vera High Schools is the pink team. 38-9 overall, winners at the Orlando Bioregionals and finalists at Lone Star.
So the pink team is one of those teams that is known to travel, and this year was no different. Starting things off in their home state, they picked up the win at the Orlando Regional, and then they traveled over to Bayou, picking up the win there as well. This past weekend, finishing up their U.S. tour, they joined the ranks of some of the powerhouses in Texas at the Lone Star Regional. Throughout these 3 events, they have never seated lower than 3rd. At Lone Star, they would captain the second alliance, selecting 54, 31, and 57 to join their alliance. The pink team can put a ball in auto and then cycles, depositing bowlers in the courtyard for their partners to score. We kind of saw their strategy a little bit there at Lone Star. The pink team would end up as finalists at this event, but did take home the regional chairman's awards. So 3 banners, 4 medals on the year for the pink team. Congrats to them and good luck in St. Louis. Well, they had, we've talked about, did they have an off year last year kind of, or 2 years ago with the whole thing? And
I don't know.
They had a bad call or something. I don't know. So it's good to see them kind of back to the pink team way back. I know we've talked about back when we were kind of students or just early mentors, 2008-ish. Pink team was a big deal at Champs. I remember that for sure. So congrats to them.
All right. So before we get into our top 10, we're going to pause here at 11 with team number 2468.
From Austin, Texas, Westlake High School, it's Team Appreciate, 40-10 season record. Winners at Utah, winners at Arizona West.
Do you remember
Their 21st night of September.
what?
You ever heard that song? September by Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I don't think so. I listened to it on the way home. So when we first had this team in the top 25, I think we had a whole discussion about when they received their team number and if they were going to have their team something
Remember-
like Appreciate.
The first time they were ever in the top 25, we're like, remember we were talking about
Are you
like,
saying that we've been doing top 25 for so long that we talked about them when they were rookies? Is that what you're referring
Just
to?
the first time they appeared on top 25, which
Okay.
was a year or 2 ago.
Okay.
Remember when we said 2468? We're like, remember I don't know. I just remember we had a conversation of like, do they have something to do with Team Appreciate, or do they not? Like I just remember, like,
Oh, I
do you
do
go the
remember that
cliche
discussion.
route, or
Right,
do you
I
not?
see.
And like, did you get the backlash either way?
I'm glad they went with it because
Oh,
it
absolutely.
fits
I
for
love
them
it.
so
Yeah.
well. So since then, they continue to find their way onto the top 25. A semifinal outing at Alamo this year. They look to improve, which they did at Utah, ranking first and winning the event. Going into the Arizona West regional this past weekend, they look to keep up the winning, which they did. This time they ranked second and were selected by 97, the High Rollers. They got through the quarterfinal and semifinal rounds with ease. I was wondering what that was.
Ryan.
And faced some adversity in the finals, where they were pushed to 3 matches but took their 3rd match decisively. So congrats to them. And again, another really great team making name themselves in first. And we'll see you in St. Louis.
Tyler, maybe that should be the name of the show. Do you remember?
Do you remember? Oh, the
What
title
show?
of the show.
The
The
name.
title.
Remember how you always look for a title for the?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember?
By the way, when you
All right,
said pink
Tyler.
team, you said like Space Ghost or something like that, or Space Coast. I'm like, Space Ghost.
Ghost.
Coast to Coast. There's an awesome Adult Swim video thing that just came out about the history of Adult Swim. And so I keep thinking about Space Ghost now. I'm getting too old.
All right, so that brings us to our break. We're going to do the top 10 in just a second. But Tyler, I think you have something you want to talk about.
Yeah, I do want to make a mention and a little bit of an apology to one team because with the Western Canada Regional happening when it did, there was some confusion in regards to how voting worked for that. And we made a clarification to our community poll in regards to that, but we didn't do that for our expert poll. So I would like to call out one team that made the top 25 in the community poll, but was omitted from the expert poll because of the way the dates worked out. There was just a lot of confusion with that. So I do want to call out 4334 ATA Robotics, who end up ranking the community poll 17th. And I'm sure if there was a little bit more knowledge a little bit more clarity on our end in regards to that, that they would have gone on the top 25 poll. So a big apology to those guys. They have a fantastic robot. I believe this is their second regional win that they had this year. I'd have to look it up, but it's a team that has continued to just go. So they won Utah and they won Western Canada. Yeah, so 2 regional wins for them this year, and a team that definitely will make a deep run into championships, I believe. Starting from their first year as a robot, we talked about them before, and the amazing contributions they played as a rookie team to now taking over that dominant role, to not just being the helpful robot. They are the robot that is dominating alliances.
Yeah, they really took that. Yeah, and went. They're 32-3 on the year, number 1 seed, number 5 at their first event.
Yeah,
very cool. Yeah, and we kind of mentioned them with I think when we talked about it a little bit, they kind of pioneered the whole really good robot reveal video thing too, or just a different side.
Yeah, we use them as an example typically when we show the for reveal night what to comprise in regards to video. Yeah, great team.
Yeah, awesome, very cool. So I don't know if I'm going to say this. I think it's still a little too. We have some notes that I'm not going to share. I think it's a little too delicate.
So I'm interested in unfortunately in this situation, talking about Wave Robotics kind of made me think about this, and it's kind of been on the back of my mind for a while. But what will the qualification process be for this 2 champs going forward? Like, is it going to be 600 teams at each event, so 1,200 teams make it? How is that?
I think it was 400 each is what the town hall said originally.
Right. So, right, and that's kind of like what it used to be. But still, with 800 teams qualifying for championship, I mean, we're just gonna have more waitlist teams. I'm interested to see if they, if anything.
You get a wild card and you get a wild card. I mean, it could be the whole finalist alliance just gets in.
Yeah.
If you make it to the finals, you're in.
Yeah. Right. But then I think an interesting point is different amount of teams may qualify from different areas of the country, making more wild spots less or more available depending on which championship those teams will go to. Which I don't know if you can give out that many wild cards without knowing, which might mean like wild cards. Or waitlist spots may not be confirmed until even later in the month, which then makes less time for teams to travel, if that makes any sense. Just as teams qualify, the waitlist spots you're not going to know, and like every year, and like this year, you're not going to know until the end. So more spots may open up for one versus the other, or I don't know, because I don't know. I'm gonna also say with this whole 2 proms going on too, there's gonna be 2 kings and queens.
2 proms.
That's what they mentioned earlier. $3.99 is gonna do it, and he said they would send him to both championships.
Wow, 2 proms. Hashtag 2 proms.
Hashtag 2 kings and queens.
So I guess that does concern me a little bit then about the 400 teams at each event, because if they're going to try to go back to 4 divisions, right? 4 divisions at one, 4 divisions at the other, back to 100 teams at each division, and back to 7 or 8 matches, and I don't know.
That's a really good point. And yeah, I wonder, I mean, maybe they'll stick to 8 divisions per each one, which would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. I'd be down.
Well, good math tells you that's 50, right?
Yeah. Math is hard.
18 fields, which I know first has 18 fields, but I mean, that's 18 fields total. 8 plus Einstein.
Oh, you're talking with practice fields, that sort of thing?
Oh, that too, plus practice fields.
But I mean, they can ship the field. They might be able to.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they can ship them within a week. That's a lot of. You think about the drage behind that to try to ship from one event to the other one.
No, we don't have. I don't think Evan watches how many fields first has in general.
Yeah.
Nick mentions they could do 6 divisions, and I wonder that. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Maybe do like a round robin or something like that. I mean, we heard that update in March from First that there is going to be something about 2 champs. Coming up, but we don't know if it's before champs, and it has nothing to do, by the way, with what we were talking about earlier in regards to how that works. But it's really interesting to see which route they're going to go, and I really hope First lets us know sooner than later. It'd be nice to know before championships where it's going to go.
Goodbyes, everybody.
Yeah,
see it
exactly.
Never. See it IRI maybe.
Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh, that's so sad. Yeah. Think about it. All right. Anything else anybody wants to add before we keep going?
No, top 10. Let's do it.
Let's do it. We'll get through these, guys. Thanks for sticking with us. So in our 10th spot, we have Team Yard over there. Something just happened?
Oh, just my back.
You and Tyler are both down. For
Yeah, I throw my back too.
my back's a mess.
In our 10th spot, we have Team 4587.
From Houston, Texas, Jersey Village High School, it's Jersey Voltage, 25-4 overall, the winners of the Oklahoma and Lone Star Regionals.
So this is it, man. We're in the top 10. So these teams really, really stood out to our voters. And leading it off here at 10 is 4587 Jersey Voltage from Houston. We talked about a little bit earlier with Tyler Ridley as well. But this team already has one win in the season in Oklahoma and look to extend that streak at the Lone Star Regional. Jersey Voltage can put in a bowler in the high goal and auto, and is primarily a quick cycler under the low bar, but can do all or most of the defenses. They finished 5th at Lone Star and were selected 1st overall by 118, the Robonauts. We talked about this last week. For a team to be selected 1st overall by one of these powerhouse teams is really an honor. Really made an impression on them to really put their trust in them. So this duo, with the help of 37-35, hit the finals hard, scoring over 200 points 3 out of 6 times, and never scoring below 170, as we had mentioned earlier. So congrats to Jersey Voltage on your 2-banner and 2 quality award season as well. And good luck in St. Louis. All right.
Moving along in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Down to 9, we have Team 910.
From Madison Heights, Michigan, Bishop Foley Catholic High School, it's the Foley Freeze, 33-12 overall winners at the Windsor Essex Regional.
So the Foley Freeze ended up here in the top 10 as they showed up to a high-powered Canadian event and showed teams that in Michigan, or showed teams in Michigan are pretty good too. Their district events haven't gone quite how they would have liked this far and won't be competing at the Michigan State Championship. However, their performance in Canada shows they do have a great machine, and they will be bringing it to St. Louis, hoping to keep that momentum going from this past weekend. So congrats to 910. I know you didn't want to kind of touch on it earlier, but I do think it's kind of interesting that, you know, a team that in this case, so to kind of counteract what you were going to say before, like, you know, they didn't qualify for their state championship and have nothing else, right? Have no other options. So they go out to another regional and they win, and maybe they, you know, they played well. So
like you said, it's a counterpoint to what I was going to say, but without saying.
So, another time.
Yeah, perhaps.
I just don't want to. It's the thing is, I know I don't want to offend anybody because I know people in the it would just.
We'll talk about it in the post show. I'll offend people. I'm okay with it.
All right.
I mean, that's what we're on here for, right? I mean, it's
we can
one
talk
of those
about the
things
post show,
where
and it's yeah.
I mean, you can be PC about everything all you want, but on the other hand, I mean, it's, you know, we have a voice, and, you know, I'm not you know, narking or anything, Mike, but I mean, we have that voice up here, and, you know, if we're gonna piss some certain people off, we piss them off.
We'll talk about it in the post show.
Let's do it.
Right.
All right. So moving on to where are we here, man? I'm sorry. Thanks, Nick. It's the new Pat Flynn.
Yeah.
Pat Flynn would just type it in.
Yeah.
We had no idea where we were,
I know.
and Pat Flynn would just type in the chat where we are.
Classic.
All right. So moving on to our 8th spot, we have Team 2052.
From Duluth, Minnesota, Irondale Senior High School, it's a Nightcrawler. 23-8 overall, the finalists of the Lake Superior and winner of the Minnesota 10,000 Lakes Regional.
So with their 2 events separated by a month and qualifying for Worlds at their first event, 2052 was able to work on iteration and get the robot tuned up for the 10,000 Lakes Regional this past weekend, and would see how their championship outlook looks. After claiming the top spot, going 8-0, they proved to themselves and the voters their work for the past month has paid off. Nightcrawler also picked up the Regional Chairman's Award for a little cling bling and putting a great cap on their regional season and prepping them for the World Championship in St. Louis. They were eliminated last year in Galileo and are looking to better that performance this year for sure. So good luck to 2052 Nightcrawler.
Fantastic.
And not since we're a little bit short on time, just to talk about 2052 real quick. There's another one of those teams in Minnesota that is really starting to get recognition out there, and then I think them and 3130 and the Gators as well too, 5172. Those are really 3 top teams that Minnesota is sending out to championships this year, and I think people discount Minnesota teams quite easily. And if you do that, I think you're going to be in a lot of trouble this year, because these 3 teams really, really have what it takes to take it to the top this year.
Cool.
I was going to say that also. I mean, Minnesota, we got some Minnesota teams on here, some Iowa teams, Maine, a couple Minnesota teams, Virginia. So a lot of teams are getting some recognition this week that I think is just awesome from all over the country, all over the world.
True. All right, moving on to 7.
Team number 368.
From Honolulu, Hawaii, President William McKinley High School, it's Team Kikamana, 26-5 overall. They were finalists at the Silicon Valley Regional.
So with 359 zipping all over the country, racking up wins, 368 has just quietly gone about their season with a great robot just finding itself on the wrong side of a couple insanely difficult matchups. Most recently of all, needing to face 1670 and 254 in the finals this past weekend. 368 is a short, tall bot with a steady approach to this year's game. They keep their gameplay simple and controlled, and they just execute. So, Mike, how do you feel looking back now to kind of put you on the spot a little bit? I know we are short on time. Would you still recommend, or if you were working with a kind of a fresh team, would you recommend a tall or short robot design? So low bar, high bar, still not sure?
So hindsight is always 20/20, of course.
Of course.
So seeing the amount of teams that went for the low bar, I think it's safe to go for a tall bot because when 85 or 90% of the teams are low bar teams, you're going to get a decent pick if you're the overall number 1 seed, which should be your goal. You're going to get a decent pick that can probably do the low bar as your first choice and probably as your second choice. So seeing 1241 be really successful at it, seeing 368 be really successful at it, I think there's options out there for snagging a good team. That being said, I think you really need to make sure that your teams can do those ones that we're seeing not done as much, such as the Sally Port. We're seeing actually a lot of low bar teams do the port calls really well, but the Sally Port and the drawbridge in general, I think would really be ones to key on if you're going to go for a tall bot.
You know, Mike, one of the things that comes to my mind though, as thinking about strategy, the reason I think most of the teams went low is because of qualification matches. And in regards to,
True.
You don't know who you're going to get matched up. Let's say at the time,
right.
I only thought that and here's our mindset, right? At the time, let's say 50% of the robots are low. And I think that's kind of what we originally estimated, that it would be like 50% go low, the rest go high, because it's going to be hard to package that much into a low base. And we get matched up with all our tall bots, then we're going to have a lot more difficulties breaching. And we want to get that one, ranking point for breaching every single time. I think that was the mentality that went with it. And teams that chose to go high, Theory 6 and Roboteers come to mind, that these are teams that are getting huge dividends because everybody else in the field is low, and they have shots that nobody can defend against, and they're accurate and they're at the right trajectory every single time. And these are why I think you're almost guaranteed to get a tall robot. I think you're guaranteed to get probably, even though there's only 10% of the robots are tall in first, let's say that just based off the CD polls, that you're going to get at least 25% of the robots on Einstein will be tall bots.
Interesting. But that's what I mean. It's even if you say 50-50 is tall versus short, you would hope that even if a team can't do anything else except drive, you would hope that they could go under the low bar. So I'm gonna counteract that point and just say, if you're a tall bot, I think you should really focus on all the other defenses. And then even if you focus on all the other defenses and did them awesome, like that's still 4 out of 5, and you could still breach with doing that, even if you had nobody. I don't know. It's interesting. It's a good conversation. Should have been our break one.
That's all right.
We could go on for a long time about that. All right, from 7, we're moving to 6 with Team 987.
From Las Vegas, Nevada, Cimarron Memorial High School, it's the High Rollers, 45-6 overall winners of the Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and Arizona West regionals.
So their performance at Arizona West was domination in every sense of the word, with a 4 ranking point match in each match. The fact they boasted a 9 RP advantage over the number 2 ranked team and earned a 42 of a possible 48 ranking points. They led the event in every category aside from the scale and challenge, and were able to win the regional for their 3rd banner of the year. So Justin, Tyler, we've talked about it a little bit this year. Is this the Hall of Fame year for 987?
Boy, I sure hope so. Like each year I kind of have you have a short list, and I've had a short list that's kind of been rolling around for a while, and teams have been picked off perfectly. 359, 1114. These teams have come around, and I feel like it's 987's turn. They're a team. I think I posted years ago on Chief Delphi when you'd always try to predict the championship Sherman's Ord video, and I was like, how do you come up with your prediction? It's simple. It's what team do I want to see there? What team inspires me? Who deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? If you really respect the Hall of Fame mantra, who deserves to be there?
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, 987.
Well, and Justin, I think you bring up a good point with a lot of people focus on the I in first, right? The inspiration. And I completely agree with you. 987 inspires me. As a team that is a perennial Chairman's Award winner, that is a team that I look forward to. I mean, especially after last year, of course. But every single year, I look to the High Rollers, and it's interesting because you know, a lot of people look at their robot and you're like, oh, that's a wonky arm that they have, but yet they perform. They're an amazing robot and an amazing team overall.
Yeah.
And I mean, no disrespect to the team that won last year, but I mean, I thought hands down that 97 was going to win it last year. So I definitely will be rooting for them this year as well.
Yeah, and like your short list kind of gets a little bit bigger every year too, because there's
Yeah.
only one team that wins it.
Yeah.
But
totally.
then another great team comes along, and we've seen it's kind of hard to sustain a good Chairman's Award team as well. Like to kind of
exhausting.
keep
Yep.
to win the Chairman's Award, you got to do a lot of stuff. on
Ask
your
Kyle
team.
from 27 Rush. I mean, she literally said, like, I don't know how much longer I keep doing that. And thank God we won Chairman's
No,
at
that's it.
championship level this
Yeah.
year, because of the time that she puts in and continues to put in still. But the time that they were putting in to get the championship Chairman's is insane, like literally insane. I know many of us put in hundreds of thousands of hours per year, but the amount they were dedicating towards Chairman's while still having a championship caliber robot is absolutely mind blowing. And the
It's
organization required
Yeah.
for that is nuts as well.
So you just hope that these teams can win it, like quote unquote, in their prime before they kind of just
Now,
slowly start.
Mike,
to
this is why we're going to have 2 Chairman's Award winners.
There you
starting
go.
next year.
which
Every time he manages to just put that dagger in a little further.
which out of all the awards, like I'm not totally against 2 Chairman's Award.
Yeah.
Like if they did it at one, if they did it this year and announced 2 Chairman's Award teams, I don't think I would hate it.
I agree.
I don't know. I don't think I'd hate it. So we'll just keep moving along here at our 5th team. Just gonna
Ooh,
keep-
can we make it brief aside? Can I make
Yeah.
a slight alteration?
Sure.
Maybe let the Chairman's Award winners be the Chairman's Award winners. Don't have a championship Chairman's Award winner. Just have a Hall of Fame class, right? So other sports have the Hall of Fame class of
Oh, yeah.
2016. They bring in a couple people, bring in 4 people, you know, first ballot, second ballot, whatever. So have the Chairman's Award be the Chairman's Award at the regionals, and then have a Hall of Fame class. I know it doesn't change much, but to me, having multiple Chairman's Award winners just seems a little strange.
But then
But if you're going to call it the Hall of Fame and you have a Hall of Fame class of teams, I think I could get behind that.
Sure.
Sometimes how you play the politics and how you present it to the public does matter a little bit. I could swallow that a little bit better, I think.
that's really interesting. Like a Hall of Fame 2016.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame 2000.
Bring
That's
in,
kind of what you
bring
call
in
it.
6 teams. Whatever.
Based on that's interesting.
Interesting. All right, let's keep going.
All right, topic for another day.
Yeah.
We have so many topics for our days.
One of these days we'll never get to it.
We'll have a whole show of
We'll,
other
we'll
topics.
do an 8-hour spree one day and just see who is left over by the end of the day.
That'd be
topics for rainy
fantastic.
days.
Yeah.
So it'll be our show. All right, go for it, my man.
Top 5. Here we go. Team number 2056.
From Stony Creek, Ontario, Canada, Orchard Park Secondary School. It's OP Robotics, 44-10 overall winners at GTRs. Finals to Waterloo, winners at Windsor Essex.
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 So though they took it in stride, their defeat at Waterloo sent shockwaves to the FRC community, and many would watch to see how they would respond as they got right back to it this past weekend at Windsor. Though they didn't seed first, they were selected by the number 1 seed, and they cruised to another regional victory. If you think about all the ways you can lose an FRC event, 2056 just find ways to win. And at the championship, with so many teams focusing on scouting and selecting the perfect partners, 2056 will absolutely be high on everyone's pick list because they're a bulletproof, simple robot that's just essential to this year's game, especially as teams play more and more matches. We've talked about it all show long. Tons of matches. Robust, simple robot is really going to be essential, and 2056 certainly has it. So they sit here at number 5, and the next streak of regional wins is underway. Congrats to 2056 OP Robotics.
OP Robotics. Cool. Moving along, our 4th ranked team is Team 971.
From Mountain View, California, Mountain View High School, it's Spartan Robotics. 25-3 overall are the winners of the Sacramento Regional. And I'm sorry, I don't know. This past weekend at Silicon Valley. Sorry.
I'm
Oh
sorry,
no,
I
they were
filled those
no.
Oh,
You're
I
right.
should've,
Finals
yeah.
at Silicon Valley. It says
All right.
it says Sacramento. Winners at Sacramento, finals at Silicon Valley.
There you go. So engineering on their fold-up twist-out shooter can rival any FRC robot ever built, and the results are speaking for themselves. Though they weren't able to pull off the win this weekend, the robot and team is rightfully recognized by the voters, placing them here in the top 5. Their 447 goal score tied 1678, showing though they might not be getting as much press as some other high-level teams in their area, they certainly can hang with the best. Where we think they will really shine is in the face of defense, with no doubt will be elevated at the championship. Their unblockable bullet shot will be a desirable trait and something that many powerhouse teams are lacking. It will be interesting to watch how they play at the championship event, as they will no doubt be another strong contender to represent California on Einstein. So we've talked about it already on the show, but 971's robot is amazing and very beautiful. We love it.
And the reason why I love it so much is that it is complex, yes, but it's not complex for unnecessary reasons, right? It's complex because they want to get high enough to have an unblockable shot, right? So they have a nice low intake. They have a shooter. We've seen it. Teams with great shooters, they're mostly blockable. So they get up high with it, and it's a unblockable bullet shot that's super hard and very accurate. So I think it's it's beautiful because it's necessity.
Mm-hmm. Tyler, what are they giving you a GoFundMe for?
They want us. Caltran mentioned that we should run a 25-hour FRC top 25 show.
If we did,
and I said if we got sponsors, we could do it.
If we did sponsors and did it for a good cause, like if we raised money or something with it,
that's not a bad idea.
That would be.
We should talk about that in the future. That's actually kind of cool.
We can finally do our cooking show.
Yeah, right. We'd have to cook 3 times.
We can Justin cook breakfast.
I'm gonna call the show title Tangents.
There you go.
This is a tangent.
Speaking about a tangent, that's coming up afterwards. Yeah.
All right. So team number for hour 10 and 11, we're gonna feature nap time.
Everybody gets a nap time.
Everybody gets a nap. All right.
Very cool. All right, moving on to number 3.
Team number 1678.
From Davis, California, Davis Senior High School. It's the Citrus Circuits. 41, 1, and 2 overall. Winners at CVR, winners at Sacramento, winners at Silicon Valley.
So their team motto is, if life gives you lemons, build a robot, which might be to amended slightly, a little bit longer. If life gives you lemons, build a robot that's dominating force in your region and a perennial contender for the first championship. It's a little bit longer, but I think a little more
fair
accurate.
enough.
Their defense of the World Championship win last year looks as good as ever, as they've attended 3 events, won 3 events, picked up a Woody Flowers Finance Award, 2 Engineering Excellence Awards, and a Motorola Quality Award. Some try to say it's not about winning, but regardless of how you feel about their season, it's been impressive. So good luck going forward to 1678 as they look to keep up their winning ways and their winning streak alive in St. Louis. So a 6 regional win streak, 11 of their last 14, they're a powerhouse. What are you distracted?
Sorry. Just Ryan says it should be called Tangents and Tidbits because this is another tangent, but it should be Tangents and Timbits.
Oh gosh.
Tangents and Timbits. Anyways,
so
yes,
the powerhouse
so
of 1678.
1678, 6 regional winning streak, and they've won 11 of their last 14 regionals. So we talked about earlier this season. At what point does a team like 1678 finally be considered a powerhouse? We call it 254, 118, 1114, 2056, amongst others, a powerhouse. We use that term just off the tip of our tongue, but just for whatever reason, 1678 just hasn't reached that level for some reason. But I think it's time that we induct them into the Powerhouse Hall of Fame and just be able to call them now. They've reached Einstein, 3 times in a row?
Yeah.
Something like that. They've won 6 regionals in a row. They've won 11 of the last 14 regionals. I think it's time just to be able to use them.
They're a powerhouse, no question about it.
So
yeah, in every sense of the word right now, they're dominating.
we give ourselves permission and all of you permission to finally call them a powerhouse. So welcome, 1678. You're now a powerhouse. All right. So all the drama's in the 2 spot. We got 2 teams left. Thanks for sticking with us, guys. We're almost there. So we haven't really mentioned it much this season, but if you would like to send us shirts or hoodies, because we're a big fan of hoodies as well, please email us at firstupdatesnow@gmail.com, or if you just want to send it to Justin and I, you can send it at that, at that email address.
Wow.
If you don't want to dish out 4 shirts, because we need to include Nick in this.
Yeah.
If you just want to send us 2, just you can email us privately.
Or 5 for our other host, for other show, Colin. He might be there.
It's a good thing Nick it can't be heard on their side.
I know.
This is why we don't give Nick a live microphone, because he likes to have expletives.
You can just send it to that
Classic.
email address, then we'll just wear it on the show, and then Tyler and Nick can just ask us where we got it from, and we don't know.
Yeah.
So, if you don't want
Looks
to
like
shop,
a nice polo I'm wearing.
I guess we won't get ours. That being said, again, Justin and Tyler will be at Vex World Championship, so if you see them, definitely give them a hello.
And a shirt.
Tyler,
Vex.
Tyler gets a hat from 987. Not
Yeah.
us.
From 97.
I need a hat. I don't know where mine went. I'm sad.
Sick and
Oh, he
right.
already has one?
I also
Anyways,
heard the 97 has new black shirts. I'm also
I'll take
very
one.
interested
Sign
in
me
that.
up.
I wear my maroon one all the
So
time.
if you need our sizes, please just email us and we'll get you those.
I'm
a
a medium.
lot.
She's a small. I'm kidding, of course.
So again, Justin and Tyler will be at Vex Worlds. Justin, I think Tyler sounds like, and myself for sure will be at championships in St. Louis, FRC, maybe Nick. Actually, you don't know what Nick looks like, so you can't say hi to him.
We're just gonna get him a shirt that says Nick.
I'm Nick.
I'm with these guys.
I'm with these guys. We should.
Yeah. No,
Not
not
punished
no,
Nick.
not punished Nick.
So that being said, thanks for sticking with us, guys. We'll be back next week. Stay tuned for some exciting things coming up. We look forward to an awesome show coming up next week and thereafter. So, anything else we want to say?
Nope. I'm ready to let it rip here. Pitter patter.
In our number 2 spot, we have Team 118
From League City, Texas, Clear Creek Independent School District. It's the Robonauts, 42-5 overall winners of the GTR East, Rocket City, and Lone Star Regionals.
All right. So 47 matches prior to championships. It is really impressive for a non-district team. The Robonauts have 2 wins on the year already and look to extend that this past weekend at Lone Star. They seeded first, scoring over 3 ranking points per match. They won the regional easily, as talked about before, with 54-87. The Robonauts have found their groove, as they always do. Their fast cycles with their cool-looking lob shot catapult is really fun to watch. They have really figured out their scalar as they do at most matches, and it's really fast at that. So we kind of touched about this with Justin. This is kind of what I said, because he had noticed that Rush kind of parked himself on the batter when they could have maybe put in one more ball to kind of, or bowler to help them out and really maybe to win that match. But if you go and watch quarterfinal match 1 from Lone Star with 19 seconds left after just making a shot, 118 goes to get another boulder in the secret passage, and you're just kind of wondering if they're making it back in time to 1, score it, 2, to scale at the end. So they do come back. They do make the shot. They launch up their grappling hook with seconds left. Like, I don't know, it's like 9 or 8 seconds left. They shoot up the grappling hook, and then they scale at the end. So while most teams are kind of happy and conservative at that point, 118 goes and just tries to rack up as many points as possible. And it was really, really cool. So check that out if you haven't. As we've kind of mentioned before, one of their functions kind of always doesn't, as we've seen the reveal video, kind of comes off the robot and doesn't really make it as the season goes along. I think it's really awesome and a testament to their team dynamics. Find really what's not kind of working on the robot, what's not worth having on the robot, take it off, and kind of seeing as the game evolves what doesn't really need to be there, and change it. It does a lot for more weight, manpower, and other aspects of the robot. So I think that's really cool. We kind of joked about it earlier, like, oh, what's going to come off the robot this year? But I think it's actually kind of really cool. And again, as the game evolves, seeing what doesn't need to be there can kind of come off, and a lot more weight, and resources to other mechanisms on the robot.
So I haven't really thought about this too much before, but if I had to pick a team to observe over build season that I couldn't be necessarily directly involved in, but could watch, I think 118 would definitely be the team that I would like to watch. I think that, being so involved with NASA is obviously a soft spot of mine, but I just think that, the way Justin was talking about their prototyping and, that one parent with a couple of kids prototyping the catapult, I just think watching their team, run through a build season would be very informative.
Yeah.
And they have a beautiful facility, absolutely gorgeous.
I can just get lost walking around that facility.
Oh, I know, right? Oh, that'd be awesome. We'll love it.
Somebody mentioned, when are we going to mention 118 as a powerhouse? I think we do. I think they just kind of got omitted from
when I said, just off the top of my head.
They are definitely considered a powerhouse team.
Yeah,
no question about it.
For sure.
If not the powerhouse team.
Yeah.
Not this week. Hi-oh.
Yeah. Oh, that wasn't number 1? Oh, my B.
Oh.
All right. So in the number 1 spot, which I'm sure is no surprise to anyone right now, team number 254.
From San Jose, California, Bellarmine College Preparatory. It's the Cheesy Poofs, 30-1 overall winners at CVR and winners. They just didn't win one regional, right?
Well,
maybe.
No, Silicon Valley.
That's it. SVR.
SVR and
CVR.
CVR. Yep. So I wore this shirt, my Apex Robotics shirt on purpose, because they are one of the most high-performing teams across multiple robotics competitions.
That's true.
Right? FRC, incredible. BattleBots, incredible. Vex, incredible. I think it's a testament. Nobody else is doing what they're doing.
Right.
Across multiple robot platforms. And I just think that's just a testament to how awesome they are. So 2 wins, 2 regional wins this season, only 1 match loss, as they look prime for a return trip to Einstein. This past weekend specifically, they had an incredibly dense group of teams in goal scoring, so they are ready to perform the game test that's now proving to be most important. High goal scoring. Their turret tracking and auto That's the reason they'll be competing for the number 1 spot in their division, and we can't wait to see how hungry they are to bounce back after their tough quarterfinal exit in last year's divisional playoffs. So good luck and congratulations to Team 254, the Cheesy Poofs, your Week 6 number 1 team.
Very cool. Congrats to them. Hopefully you get that
Huzzah!
Huzzah.
Bum, bum.
Wait, was that Tyler's? Oh no, that was Travis's thing. Remember the one if they didn't
Blarg.
make it that
Blarg.
Yeah.
The what?
Yeah. Travis Hoffman used to
Used to be in the
always-
chat. Like
always
if they
complain.
didn't make it in the top 25, like at the point they realized that they weren't gonna be in it, like he put in the chat like this one word that he told us he was gonna like put in ahead of time. So it's like kind of really funny. Blarg, yeah. So, all right. So that's your top 25 through week 6. Make sure you tune back in next week for the top 25 through district events. And then any other special announcements we may have or may not have.
Yeah, and there may be some changes next week too. We'll have to talk about with the plan being for just doing the district champs for next week or not, and in regards to a final top 25. So I think we can talk about that offline.
Yeah.
And how we're going to move forward for that. So just stay informed with that. Like I said, we are most likely planning on having a shorter show next Tuesday, with the show also next Friday as well too. So make sure you check that out. And once again, thank you so much to everybody who is tuning in live today. If you're watching offline as well too, we're happy to have you. And if you like the show, go ahead and tell a friend, post on your favorite social media, just let people know about what's going on, get more people informed and engaged on what's going on in FIRST Robotics. And regardless if you agree with us or don't agree with us, hey, tune in, stay informed, and let us know what you think with feedback at firstupdatesnow@gmail.com and on our website at firstupdatesnow.com. You can catch fun shows live weekly on Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And don't forget to cast your vote for the FRC Top 25 weekly as we move on into championships. Our polls will open on Sunday. If we do have them, we'll let you know. And they'll close the following day at 8 p.m. Eastern. So district championships coming up ahead. Who's excited?
We are.
We all are. Absolutely. We can't wait. We can't wait to see what you have. Yeah, go ahead and let us know if you got any free swag for us to have as
drop
well.
it off to us.
Not even free. I'm willing to pay for it.
Oh, Justin's one that I'm not. So, bring me free stuff. But yeah, if you're once again, if you're going to be at Vex Worlds, come say hi to Justin and myself. I don't know if we'll be next to each other the whole time or not, but definitely we'll try to stand out the best we can for you. And if you're interested in watching the live show next Friday, if you're at Vex Worlds, I'm sure we can try to arrange that somehow. So let us know, and we'll try to get you to stop by for that as well. But with that said, we're coming up the championships, guys. District champs next week, championships the week after. We can't wait to see it. 2 weeks after that, sorry. But we will see you coming up very soon, next week Tuesday and next week Friday on Recap. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night.
Good night.
This has been a First Updates Now production. Visit us at firstupdatesnow.com or find us under First Updates Now on Facebook or Twitter.